Hello and welcome to episode 531 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, a place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. My name is Vince Hunt, and joining me as always is the artist and creator of the epic webcomic series Vanguard, Dan Butcher.
Hello.
Looking at you on the screen there, Dan, you look like really confused. No, listeners will never see this, because we do all this on Zoom now because we're trendy hipsters. But Dan, you look deep in thought.
We swapped over to Zoom a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just getting a link up ready for the show.
Oh,
we actually do prep sometimes.
Yeah, we do prep, and we are professionals. Well, we're not really professionals, but one man that's a pro, always a pro, is Tony Esmond.
Oh, me? I thought you were going to say Tom. Thank you.
Oh no, we are joined this week by the lovely and wonderful returning guest Tom Curry.
Professional.
Show.
Hey, hello.
Yeah. Right, Tom.
That's because Cliff said my name 3 times last.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He's our version of Candyman, only with less bees.
Yeah.
But yes, we're all here just to talk comics. We've got an interesting topic, which may get. I know a lot of my co-hosts here. I've been doing a bit of reading, and there's going to be some thoughtful, dare I say it, possibly educational and philosophical debates. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? They'll probably. I mean, it'll divulge into some sort of filth by the end of the show, surely. But Tom, I mean, it feels like I only spoke to you earlier this week, probably because I did. Yeah. But since you were last on the show, how have you been finding comics reading in general?
Ooh, that's a good question. So unlike Mr. E, I don't keep up with the weekly Marvel or DC.
Don't blame me.
I jump from manga to manga as my heart desires. I think
that's your go-to now, isn't it? Manga?
Very much so. Yeah. I get interested in a subject, and or maybe I buy a co-host a present and then realise I haven't read it and think, you know what, I might as well read 20th Century Boys and really enjoy it. But yeah, no, that's been my main reading, frankly. So yeah, just sort of jumping from bits to bits as a fancy.
And just as a question, because obviously your reading has sort of evolved into that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you look on it now, it's like, oh wow, it's pretty much just all manga. What has that journey been like? And kind of like, were there any choices for it? Any reasons?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to say something maybe Tony might disagree with, but so Tony's always made the point, and everyone who's listened has heard him say it before. You don't need to see the first episode of Coronation Street to watch Coronation Street. I do like a thing having a start and an end. So kind of like the first comics I read properly were Hellboy, because it was super easy to pick up the trades of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you could pop on to Forbidden Planet Amazon, Excelsior Comics in Bristol, and you could pick up number 1 really easily. And a lot of them also were like really self-contained. It was a good sort of like solid, here's a story and a thing. And if you think about all the big hitters from like a Western comic point of view, think about like Saga. Like Saga's not fucking ended. Like it's still going. And like it's that kind of thing. Like I want a conclusion to what I'm reading. Or even the ability to find the beginning of it, or at least a decent jumping on point. And manga gives me that in really easy ways. And then you combine it with like, if I'm really excited about beekeeping, for example, cool, I can probably find one about fucking beekeeping. Even my recommendation today is one of, I knew it was coming on the episode. There was a subject you talked about a few weeks back. Let's see if I can find something to, show that aspect from and it's a completely different culture and way of working.
I wonder why you brought that up, because I expected you to turn up with a bit of a turtleneck on and a beret. It was more and it'll make sense at the end of the show. Keep listening, listeners. Keep those peepers peeled. But yeah, it was how does a completely different culture and a completely different way of working deal with different problems or different questions? They are not as much of one-man bands as you get with sort of a lot of Western comics in terms of, and I appreciate that's a massive generalization as well, but think about Monsters. A fantastic book we've all read, really enjoyed. I think all of us have probably actually can see literally Tony's copy behind him.
Yeah.
And that was Barry Windsor Smith working for 35 years on that one, roughly.
Yeah, a long time. On and off a little bit, but even back when he was at Marvel and DC, he was working on it. Yeah.
And you think about like all those sort of like, that was obviously a one-man band thing. But even, your Alan Moore Swamp Thing, it's still a reasonably small team, whereas manga has like a massive fucking team.
And of course, like all things, it's not properly attributed in terms of going for all the background artists and like lead-ons and that kind of stuff. But actually having like a big group project makes it a heck of a lot easier. I was thinking about Sliced recently.
Okay.
Like the series that Ken, a really nice anthology series, but it worked well because it was an anthology series of like actually we've got all these different creators coming together to put this book together and create actually like a really.
It's Ken Reynolds, wasn't it?
Ken Reynolds, fantastic book. If you can get a copy of it, please do.
I've got. If anyone wants one, I've got a spare. We've got one of each. Volume spare because I've got a comp.
And like think about the like Tony's Hidden Lives, in a sense of that was it's one author but multiple artists. So again, you've got like a team effort kind of thing, and it just makes the whole thing easier. I think it gives a lot more collaborative work, gives a lot more interesting stories, and hence why looking at that from like a manga point of view, like from the manga point of view, is actually like it creates the story's more likely to get finished, or at least finished in some sense. I can actually have an ending to it.
And it sells, so it's like
finished.
Yeah.
And here's like, there's a lot of them. I dislike the ending. My Hero Academia ended this year.
Yeah.
And I did not enjoy the ending at all. And for like years I've been coming on here, and I've probably recommended on this show 2-3 times.
Yeah.
Because it's had like really good parts to it where I was like, this feels like classic X-Men, or this feels like a really it feels like a really great growing narrative. And the ending for me just didn't work at all. And that's that's perfectly okay. But it ended.
How many volumes is that, Tom? Roughly, can you remember?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think about 87.
Loads.
Oh, okay.
87.
Yeah, 87. Hold on. Let me just.
That's a big investment, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And like it was, I was reading on Shonen Jump. You know what I mean? Like so, it was £2 a month.
But just time-wise as well. Just your time.
Yeah.
As we said, Attack on Titan, I had similar feelings with that. I was loving that, and then when it got to the end, it got really overcomplicated and convoluted and bloated. I was like, oh man.
It's 42.
Okay, it's still loads.
42.
Yeah.
42. But it just the ending for me didn't really work. But that's okay because it ended.
Each volume's how many pages of like a traditional manga?
Of like traditional manga size, like 120.
120.
Right.
Roughly or so. And they were talking like somewhere between A5 and A4. Do you know what I mean? That kind of
yeah.
Can fit in your back pocket, but you're gonna have to come to a time sitting on it. That kind of sort of
size. Yeah, like you say, Tony, it's a big investment, but people that are reading manga, like they're doing that investment several times because they'll like several different series, won't they? And they'll keep going back to them. They'll just keep absolutely running through it. It's sometimes the Western comics and the Western series, they have a real problem keeping that engagement, keeping that sort of that pace and that passion, don't they? Really.
There is a concern. I feel like if you it seems nowadays if you get invested in the story and the sales ain't doing well, they just stop the comic, which is kind of. But you can't read a comic because you think they may stop making it, or the end.
There must be there's countless tales of that in manga as well, isn't there? Because it is a business and it is publishing, isn't it?
They will wrap up stories quickly.
Right.
Yeah, and they will wrap it up just to finish off the thing. But Dan's point is right. If you don't buy the comic, then no one's gonna finish off because there's no money coming in. So you have to invest your time. You have to invest some hope into it. So
you are massively right there, Tom. But I don't. That's been told to us many times, isn't it? And I don't think we should feel any guilt about not doing it.
No.
No.
I mean, manga's different because it's more expensive, but it's less expensive per page. But Marvel, I mean, just a title like Daredevil or something, it's going to be rebooted at some point. Every few years it gets rebooted, so they can get a first issue bump out of it. So I know I'm reading a comic that's going to end. I know I'm reading a comic the story's going to end, probably quite abruptly. It's just sort of bashing us over the head with a $5 at a time.
I think the other aspect that I quite enjoy about manga reading particularly is it stays in its lane. And what I mean by that is if you have your beekeeper storyline, they're never going off to play volleyball with another series. You have to read 2 different volumes.
What series
wouldn't it be great?
There's not suddenly a discussion about ping pong and you think, it's going to cross over next week.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, I sort of go back to Hellboy a bit there. Hellboy kind of moved within its own universe a little bit. And, you know what, to an extent, when BPRD came online, you could sort of see, like, okay, we're going to see the same story, a few different angles there. Yeah. Honestly, could live with that quite.
And Hellboy appeared as a guest star in many other sort of independent, but it was very much that.
His first appearance was a guest star.
Yeah, exactly. But he's
Dark Horse Presents.
But he's no stranger to a cameo.
Men.
I think he was actually in like a Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, you're right. It was. Yeah, on the cover. Yeah.
but he would turn up, do his bit. You get your Hellboy flavour,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't really affect anything in the Hellboy universe, would it? Really?
Beast of Burden. He turns up in Beast of Burden for
okay.
yeah.
like a real
Well, Savage Dragon, you know.
Yeah. And honestly, Savage Dragon is the kind of comics I quite enjoy
Marshal Law.
reading. Marshal Law, yeah. And actually, you know what? Going to 2000 AD, those, you get nice collections of, hey, those big Warlock collections, Nemesis Warlock collections, right? Like it's a good, solid, chunky phone book size thing. They're like, great, I'm going to get a whole narrative here and read some really interesting comics and really interesting storytelling devices.
That's like a collection of years of 2000 AD.
Yeah.
Books, isn't it? But like I said, those collections are great.
And they'll keep making them till they bleed us dry. In different sizes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where my sort of head's at with it at the moment, Recklin. Like what I read now has changed quite a lot, even in the last 18 months or so.
Okay.
I think they're always changing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Are always on the move.
And part of that is like Tony as well, in terms of. So I was reading a lot of Shonen Jump, which is a lot of it's boys' adventures comics, right?
Yeah.
You get the hero who sort of like goes up through the hero, the standard hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
And then Tony kind of opened my eyes a bit more to actually hold on. There's a lot of like fucked up war stuff here that you could read about, or read about people's, like the last one I recommended when I was on, which I'll just go to my notes just double check because I have like a document of all these. So I don't cross over. Goodbye, right? That collection of like short stories. Fucking hell, they're rough. They're rough.
Yeah.
They're dark as hell. But
such a bleakly well-made comic, that man.
Yeah,
I just
incredibly
love it.
well made.
And that Tezuka we talked about, it's just strange, man. It's just,
it is.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy. It's still on my shelf.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get rid of it. And would I recommend to other people? Probably not everyone. But like,
exactly.
There's some people I would definitely chuck it onto. So I think that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I think
So when you come to the end of like a series, like you say, these stories end, and like you've just like one of the ones you're reading has just ended recently.
Yeah.
Do you get excited about searching or trying to find a new one within manga?
Oh, I mean, I of course go online and complain about it for about 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Virtual, isn't it? I want to make sure absolutely everyone knows how I feel about it in every way. Cool. Love going on a subreddit just to check. Am I right in feeling?
That's a dark world.
Yeah, it is. Every time you sort of.
I'm always on the dark web complaining about
this fucking bullshit.
It is. I mean, a bit like Self-Vince. What I'm interested in changes semi-regularly. I mean, like in terms of like, okay, well, I'm quite excited about this idea or this concept, and is there a story on this line, or is there something along there I can kind of mix in instead? So one of the things that I don't know about yourselves. Do you have a standard book on a non-comic a standard non-comic book and a comic on at the same time, or do you?
Always,
So you always have like one. So you okay. So
fiction book or something similar. Like,
so I don't. Basically, when I'm reading one thing at a time. So if I need to go to get a book, I read the one thing at a time, and kind of that's what I go to. So I might go to like, okay, I'm going to go back to a fiction or a non-fiction or whatever I'm reading, whatever I'm interested, and then So it just sort of integrates into part of my reading of like, this is what I'm reading at the moment.
I mean, quite often with me is a bit of a crossover. So the novel I'm reading at the moment is by J. Michael Straczynski, who's obviously a comic writer as well.
Yeah.
It actually might be worth mentioning because it's such an interesting format. So it's a book about a load of people who decide to kill themselves, and they get on a bus and they travel in this bus to go off the end of a cliff. But it's not told as prose. It's told as messages between them and emails to their parents and emails from the police to say, where are you? Your parents are worried about you. And messages from, say, the doctor to say you haven't been taking your meds and stuff like that. There's no ongoing prose in it. It's just purely done by emails and text messages put on the page. I'll have to get you it, man. It's downstairs.
Please do. Yeah.
How's it structured? Each chapter is a different character, or it's just...
No, it flicks about between characters, but you get a growing character. So you start with the bloke who comes up with the idea, and the bloke who's going to drive the bus, and then this sort of goth girl with a sort of skin condition, which every day is painful. She jumps on the bus, and then they go round somewhere else, and they pick someone else up, and it sort of slowly builds this spraying out of narratives that come from the way we live our lives now. It's not fucking... I'm not sure if it's exactly a book. It's a really weird one. It's a strange... It's not always just pictures of phone screens with text messages on, but it can be that in the middle of it, you know?
Yeah.
Very interesting structure.
That sounds interesting.
That's very interesting, yeah. Like, I like a lot of like novels and stuff. The way I sort of devour them is usually audiobooks with me at the moment. It's just easy. And I think because I don't... Like when I'm commuting, I'm in a car. Do you know what I mean?
Don't know how that would play on an audiobook though, V. You'd have to get all different voices, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's an interesting. It's a bit like I was listening to Project Hail Mary not too long ago, and there's a sort of communication bit that I think within the printed page is written in musical notes, but of course in the audiobook it sounds. It's actually they play the sound, so it was interesting. It works as a really good audio medium. But
not to get too deep in the weeds on that one particularly, Vince.
Yeah.
Have you finished that book?
Do you know what? I pulled the ripcord and left it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And this is someone that I love The Martian.
Yeah.
I love that book. Don't worry about the film. The book, I love The Martian. This one just sort of didn't really.
Okay.
It was a bit too slow, a bit too scientific.
I had a little cry at the end of it.
Did you?
Right, it really caught me at the end. Yeah. But that's
Where did it catch you? Did it catch you just at the end? At the
tip?
At the tip,
just at the tip. Yeah, a little cry. Yeah,
that makes me cry.
Jokes.
God, there I am, like actually showing a bit of emotion. Years we've been friends, Vince.
I know. Well, are you okay? Are you okay?
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Good.
Just anyone wondering, it's called Together We Will Go. Is the J. Michael Straczynski book. Looked it up.
How big is that, Tony? That book?
It's just normal, fairly sort of 250, 300 pages, something like that. I think off the top of my head. Yeah, it's not a long novel or anything.
Fantastic. Nice.
Nice.
It's not got an audiobook. Although his autobiography, just to plug that again, his autobiography has got an audiobook, and it's read by the bloke who played Londo Mollari. If you've ever seen Babylon 5, you know that Peter Jurassic, who played Londo Mollari, is the fucking actor of television's generation. He is fucking amazing, and then he does it's amazing. Nice. Amazing. Yeah.
Tony's a fan of Babylon 5, just in case anyone didn't.
Thank you.
I've only not seen very much of Babylon 5.
I saw a bit of it.
Is there any decent Babylon 5 comics, Tony?
Yeah, there's a few actually. Yeah, some good ones. Yeah,
are they like recreations of the show, or are they more like side stories?
Almost like a little continuation sometimes.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
It's quite structured like that.
Michael J. Straczynski wrote that Captain Powers TV show.
Yes, he did. Yeah, and Sense8 on Netflix. If you've ever seen that.
Oh yes.
Did he write that?
He showran it.
Yeah.
Blimey.
That's nuts.
He's moved to Britain, hasn't he? If you read his Substack, he's come to Britain because he wants to make a British TV show.
So thinking about comics and TV shows, like the most famous example I can think of is Buffy, that finished at Series 7, but then had like a whole Series 8 in comic.
I think there was even 9 and 10.
9 and I think and like generally accepted as like these are pretty solid. These are like
canon.
The canon and also well accepted and people enjoy. And it's interesting how we talk so much about people writing comics for TV or for movie, like Berserk, for example, which you mentioned last week. But it's interesting that's one of the few examples where it's gone the other way.
Yes.
And you think about like Star Trek and Babylon 5, and like Star Trek has a metric ton of comics that range from pretty, feeling pretty serious to actually completely out of canon, or and it's just very interesting. That example particularly is, it's just a very interesting example in like a sea of fan-made comics.
I think that there's also a lot of it is a lot of the tie-ins or followations. They're just not seen as legitimate. Do you know what I mean? They're not seen as canon. Do you know what I mean? If you think you get beyond a certain realm, beyond the comics realm, and people be like, "What? They did that?"
Star Wars is the big one of them, I reckon, because you ended up having characters that are now back in the series. Is that right? They've actually had characters.
Some of them are. Yeah. So Thorn is the big one.
Right.
Yeah.
There was.
He was in the books first, wasn't he? He was Heir to the Empire.
Heir to the Empire. And as a kid, I've really enjoyed those books.
I loved those books as a kid.
It's great. Yeah.
Well, as a teenager, should I say, not a kid.
Yeah.
I bought the V, the minis, the V, the TV series. The Visitors. The Visitors. I bought the comics to that. They're actually right. They're okay. Yeah.
Actually, the Prisoner had quite a good comic adaptation.
It's had 3 different comics, I'm going to say.
So the one I'm thinking is the Kirby one.
Yes, we talked about that on the Drink and Draw. Funny enough.
Oh, really? It's a great. Yeah, I've got a copy of that myself.
Yeah. So that was never released.
Yeah.
As a comic. I think Gil Kane drew some of it, and then Dean Motter did the Prestige format miniseries.
Okay.
And then Titan had Pete Milligan do a series. I'm going to say about 8 years ago, something like that, which wasn't as successful. I really like Pete Milligan as a writer, but it didn't really hit and run. That one. The Dean Motter one is almost they go back to the village years later, sort of thing. Really interesting. That was a continuation. Who something.
Now, I know it's TV, Tony, and I'm segueing this purely as because I think there's lots of our listeners who would be interested about this. I know you're a big Prisoner fan, and it was before my time. I only knew about it. I've known about it.
And me, man, fucking hell, and me.
Yeah, I only know about it in legend. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But I've never watched it, and it's something that doesn't. Time has passed. It's spoken of less. Is it something that still stands up now? Would you?
Yeah, I mean, it still stands up as well. It depends on your point of view, but it probably doesn't stand up because it's actually fucking quite intelligent compared to a lot of the dreck we get given these days.
Yeah.
But it's got quite there's an awful lot. I dare you not to watch the first episode and be hooked by it because it never fully explains itself, which is the reason at the time the last episode had some of the biggest number of complaints ever for a TV show up to that time.
Right.
And I think since in certain ways, but yeah, I think it really does stand up. It's McGowan had this massive idea and it just gets translated and it's such a beautiful design. If you watch something like Landscape Artist of the Year, they go there and do the final. They go because it's in it's a village in the west, in the coast of Wales.
I
but it looks like an Italian
think
village.
That on this comic show we're talking about Landscape Artist of the Year.
I know,
I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Can I?
It's such. Have you been there, Tom?
So I haven't been there. I was actually going to.
God, go there, man.
I was thinking my introduction to the prison was actually Radio 4.
Right.
So
with the Big Finish one?
Yeah, the Big Finish. It's semi-regularly.
That's really good.
It's really great. And I was desperate for sci-fi content.
Is that just a retelling or is it a continuation?
A little bit retelling, a little bit more extra, yeah.
It's all like dramatization of it. It's great. Really great.
Really good. Yeah, I was really impressed. We listened to that on the way to the village to stay there.
Cool.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, if you go to the villages, is all Prisoner as well. It's quite famous for selling plates and stuff as well. It's quite Port Merion is the name of the place. Yeah. But if you go there, the his house, which is because it was all filmed there, his house is the Prisoner's shop, and you can buy all sorts of things there. You can buy a book on the Prisoner written by the film director Alex Cox because he loves the series, believe it or not. But you can also buy one of those massive rubber, massive white balls that will chase you down the beach, and they inflate it for you, and you can. I think it's only good for one go. You know what I mean? And you can take it down the beach. It's an incredible place.
Vince, just brace yourself for the segue. Okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
Talking of Big Finish, of course, Pat Mills has had some Big Finish stuff released for his Doctor Who things, which is obviously a great, series for comics. Because there's so much time in between each of the episodes, you can absolutely pump out comics. The more adventures of Doctor Who, like number 9 or something.
Yeah, Doctor Who's a big example of that, especially with the Dave Gibbons stuff. And with
exactly, you can do loads of great comic stuff there in terms of
Pat speaks very highly of Big Finish. He did 3 with them in the end.
Yeah,
he really
I've
liked
listened to most of them. I think I've listened to 2 of them, and they're great.
The one in London, really good. I can't remember the name now off the top of my head, but yeah.
They are just the go-to, aren't they? Big Finish.
So much, man. You'd bankrupt yourself trying to buy even a portion of it all.
And I think, is there a lot of their stuff on Audible and stuff like that?
Some.
A lot of it's on Sounds. If you BBC Sounds,
and Spotify.
You can get a load of it on Sounds pretty regularly.
Right, okay.
Wow.
I'm not always put it on Spotify because it seems to be without credits on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
The John Hurt stuff. So for the War Doctor, there was a whole series of John Hurt as a War Doctor.
Yeah, and then after he died, they kept doing it as well, didn't they?
It's fantastic. It's so good. It's really good.
I think
they pull it.
Yeah. On this, it's crazy to think that video killed the radio star. That classic thing. Mm-hmm. But now, in modern times, the audio medium with podcasts and just audio books are now bigger than ever.
Big Finish is canon for Doctor Who. In my head, it's 10 times better than the television stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Tom Baker is doing Big Finish audios still.
Yeah.
One comes out this week.
And the actors, it says a lot about... I love this when we just do the bants and it goes in all directions. But Doctor Who, for instance, all the actors come back to Big Finish to do Big Finish stuff, don't they?
Eccleston is pretty
back
clear
now again.
It's pretty clear that he wouldn't wanted nothing more to do with the TV series.
Yeah,
I actually quite like Eccleston, if I'm honest with you.
I do.
But he's happy to come back for Big Finish.
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, he's quite expensive, as I understand it.
Yeah.
As he would be. He's in Hollywood movies, isn't he? So he can be.
Yeah, he's a big.
But it goes to show who's never given.
Yeah.
It goes to show he wasn't given certain doctors weren't given a chance, because the best doctor on Big Finish is
it
McGann? It's Colin Baker.
Oh, Colin Baker.
He is amazing on it, and it was such a pantomime when he was in the TV series.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
He had that real sort of patchwork jacket and everything.
Yeah. Saying that though, McGann is really good.
Yeah.
McGann is really good.
Because McGann had nothing, didn't
he? Just had a TV movie.
Movie.
Yeah. So
I only ever watched that once.
I only watched it once. Christ, I remember that. Eric Roberts.
I don't know if they ever did a comic of that. I don't think they did. No. Well, speaking of that, Eric Roberts is back as the Master in Big Finish now.
Oh, nice. Nice.
But I think it's when you have a character like that and you have one actor where it was literally they only did one thing. That whole for Big Finish, it's like we can do this. Forever.
Yeah. There's loads to work with.
Because
Doctor Who fans are like us; they're fucking obsessive. So the bloke who wrote that TV movie, which was considered a massive failure, has done his own film about writing that movie.
Right.
It's on fucking Prime.
Yeah. Really?
You can buy it on Blu-ray.
People would be interested in watching that.
Yeah.
It is interesting how like certain fandoms just will not like. Again, it's almost go back to the Buffy thing, right? In terms of they're so desperate for any kind of anything at all, they will pick it. Star Trek, Doctor Who, but they'll absolutely any kind of.
I kind of think a little bit is where they shot the puppy on this with a lot of things, where they almost give you too much. So. Back in the day, if they made an action figure of Captain America, we'd be like, "Fucking hell, they've done an action figure. That's amazing."
God,
now I can't keep up with the action figures. Or they've done a novel or a movie or something. Now it's like fucking every 5 minutes something's jumping out.
Yeah.
Like how many times have we seen the magazines at Christmas to collect your own DC heroes chess sets?
Yeah.
I know.
Look, I don't want a fucking Riddler Bishop, okay? I'm not wanting.
Yeah.
You pay 400 quid just to get half the chessboard, don't you?
Yeah.
Or make a Batmobile or something. Yeah.
Like
I'm still trying to build that Cutty sock.
But they're playing on us being obsessives, aren't they? With that, they know we won't leave it. They know we won't leave it.
Yeah, that collector
I've
mentality.
never got one of those magazines to forever, and not even a single issue.
No, because they never end.
No. Better sort of just fucking buying the thing outright, like buying a model Robocop or whatever they fucking build. I'd always buy a model Robocop.
But they're always coming after us, aren't they? They're always coming after our pound note.
Yeah. And we give it.
You know, we bend over and give it.
Let's leave that there. And what a wonderful way to end that lovely bit of banter. Before moving on to the topic for this week, which is a fascinating one, as we were throwing things about. We're going to talk about comic book character archetypes and archetypes in general. Now, this did provoke a lot of discussion within the WhatsApp group. Dan
was laying down some deep psychology, Jungian psychology on us, weren't you?
Yeah, absolute smack.
There's a bit of that in it.
Yeah.
For me, they're quite an easy sort of like a cookie cutter kind of. You can punch a character out using this as kind of like a guideline
to start. Post for me. Yeah.
I mean, do you think, for instance, like a comic book character archetype is something that is very specific to comics, or is it something that's can be quite broad?
No.
Broad.
I think if you look into the origins of the term, I think it actually comes from myths and legends.
Yeah,
I think so. I actually wrote the definition: a universally recurring pattern, symbol, or character found in myths, stories, and human psychology, which is quite interesting.
I think there are certain archetypes that fit better in comics than others.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like there are, I mean, of course there are no limits for comics, but it is hard to, for example, like thought balloons are not as popular anymore.
Yeah.
Meaning it's hard to,
Which
you know,
is a
like,
shame.
It is a shame, but it is also that's a kind of a hard thing to get across sometimes. So certain ones won't work as well without like the inner monologue as well. Think about actually, if we go to Dune, if you want to ring that bell, a lot of time is spent, with Paul thinking about things.
Yeah.
And unless you're going to do thought balloons for that, it's very hard to get that. You're missing a lot of context about it.
Yeah, I agree, man. There's only so much you can show and match that, isn't there? Yeah.
So Dan,
Yeah.
take it away because you were doing a lot of thinking about this.
No, I kind of find generally like the hero's journey. I've kind of used it in the second half of Vanguard to kind of plot out the story and kind of like stuck to the beats. Famously, obviously, George Lucas did it with Star Wars, the initial 6, 7, 8, as they're now called. But those kind of archetypes, you can see them like writ large, like throughout comics. If you do the kind of the Conan the Barbarian style, kind of lone savage wanderer from the wastelands, I mean, we've seen that character done a million times. I did a shout out. Was it last week or the week before? That guy did a sort of webcomic homage to Conan, and he has kind of essentially defined that archetype for me in comics. Every sort of sword and sandal character is compared to Conan. Yeah.
Headlopper, Forgal, for example. Forgal's a little bit different, but you know what I mean? Like, it's still the same kind of idea.
What's that? Oh, God, that metal one. Rick something. But yeah.
Bloodrick.
Bloodrick. Yeah. They're all kind of...
I think there's two ways of doing it, aren't there? So Bloodrick, for example, plays on the cliche and the tropes that have come out of that archetype successfully by subverting them, or you get the people who just fucking lay it out and do it again, which sometimes can be a little bit boring. I think you've got to, like Bloodrick does, you've got to twist it. Headlopper does the same, doesn't it? You've got to have you use what's already in our heads and we know what we're expecting, and then you fucking play with it. Yeah,
I think that's a great way of like picking up on using. It's already kind of that language and story's already coded in there by the archetype, and then you use that to kind of spin off of. Exactly, we were just going to mention picking out a character.
So the way
mine's similar to
that. The way we sort of
Dan's got a Punisher t-shirt
talking about this. You know, we had discussed like archetypes within comics, but also things that works, our personal faves and what we like and what we don't like and things like this. And as always, keep the conversation going. We love hearing your thoughts on these topics. No, sometimes you can just tell us what you like. Other times, tell us what you think about the entire thing in general. But of course, keep on the Slack. Join the Slack community. Get in touch with us and join there. And all the lovely listeners that are already on there already, we know you're going to keep the conversation going. But just wanted to put that out there, straightforward before we get stuck into it. So
yes, one of the other things is like with the archetype of team books. Do you think the kind of the DNA of the X-Men of that build basically dominates kind of team books from then on? Because you got your kind of like Berserker Wolverine guy, you got your Stoic leader Cyclops. You got your Gambit, who's kind of like a bit of the ladies' man.
That's an interesting point, because for me, archetypes. I understand where you're coming from with the archetypical sort of team book, but it feels a very singular thing to me. It feels like the X-Men are a collection of individual. I think each person could be put into a different section.
Whenever you get a new team book coming along, they're invariably always like, is that like the X-Men? Is that like the Fantastic Four? Is that like the Justice League? Is that
the Justice League's been the recent one? We've only got to look at like the Boys or something, haven't you, to see that it's subverting, but playing with those definitely those archetypes. It's obvious. It's in your face. Yeah, but I think you're right, Dan. I think we, even if I was looking at that Malibu book, was it Strangers or something? And I was thinking, oh right, there's the crazy one. Yeah. There's the leader character. There's the the female who's sort of ethereal and feels things.
You've got the flying one. You've got the bulky Hulk-like one. Do you know what I mean? You got the brute.
There's comparisons to be made across a lot. I mean, obviously we had the Phoenix in the X-Men, and then we kind of had Raven, didn't we, in New Teen Titans, and
I'm thinking about like Invincible. So what I've obviously listened to what you're saying, but I think that Invincible and the teams all form around there, and they try to in some ways subvert those a little bit, but not a lot. I was God, who was it who came on did Strangers in Paradise talk about taking one step to the left?
Terry Moore.
So for example, if you've got you want to have the smart one, the easy thing to do is glasses, shorts, weedy.
Yeah.
But actually, one step to the left would be like, okay, the big strong one is the, you know what I mean?
Which is what Invincible does, doesn't it?
Which is what kind of what Invincible does, you know what I mean? In terms of like, how can you take that one step to the left of those teen archetypes?
It's interesting how we found ourselves there, because when you think that the Justice League is the almost like the format occasionally for some of these teams, it's actually, when you think the Justice League is actually a collection of heroes from different fucking places. You know, in many ways, DC is a collection of things that all got, you know, Shazam is from this comic company originally, and Batman was created by these guys, and it's almost like they formed to become archetypes now going forward.
And I think just a brief sort of sub path here, but like I think when a lot of these teams they come together now, and like you say, they're coming together from all over the world, different cultures, different wherever, different fucking planets. And I don't think they ever pay attention to the fact of, like, if you get people from all over coming together, they don't just all work fantastically all the time. They just fucking...
There'll be a bit of friction.
Actually...
Well, I don't know. I think the X-Men was kind of based on that friction, wasn't it? In a way, it still is in a way.
But I think. With the X-Men, you had that basis of, like, there was an academy, there was a school, there was people from, you know, very much like a school. People came from all different walks of life and were put together. Whereas a Justice League or, you know, say an Avengers, they're always doing other things and they're coming together for a weekend to save the world.
Checking out an interesting example would be Ambassadors by this big game. Do you know what I mean? Mark Miller. Because all of those guys have the same powers. Yeah. There's no variation there, right? So you can't determine their personality.
The variation is in the personality, in the nationality, almost, isn't it?
Yes. Rather than it being like, this is the strong one, this is the short one. I don't know why I'm going strong and short, but you know, that kind of, you know.
Yeah.
That's
and it's in how they use them, I guess. Then, isn't
it?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, the Fantastic Four is also there's all these like archetypes which are a group of people, aren't they? When you think about it, you got Fantastic Four, but then we got Elementals as well, which was a massive twist on that formula when you think about it. Yeah,
all the different characters through that. Yeah, it's what's the rock guy? What's he called again? Monolith or something?
Yeah, Monolith. I think. Yeah, you're right. I think.
Yeah, and the second one, he's kind of like a dead guy, an older sort of middle-aged guy who becomes.
He's a kid, isn't he, Monolith? So they're all stuck at the same age,
think, doesn't he? Yeah.
But
that's really interesting kind of play on that.
If you can find it, I'll try and stick it in the Substack. But there's a great video on the history of Comico, because that really affected the growth of that comic story. It's really interesting. Yeah, sorry, as an aside.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be a bit of a twat. Like in Vanguard, I had it that if there was a team of these super characters being put together, the kind of the PR department's like, you're going to look like that, you're going to look like that.
Yeah, which is what
the characters don't really fit into the kind of the role.
That's interesting.
It's like creating a pop band. You're going to be that one. You're going to be that one.
You're going to be that one.
You're going to be the one that can sing, and you're going to be the pretty one. Do you know what I mean? It's that.
Oh, yes, massively. I think sometimes I find it interesting when they. So, for example, Justice League Dark, I found interesting because you had John Constantine and you had Swamp Thing and you had Blue Devil and, you know, all these sort of characters in and out of it. And I think that's interesting because you're getting characters who have been built up, nothing almost to do with superhero universes, and then stuck together. And I kind of like that as idea because it's betraying the trope.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm going to go on my soapbox here a little bit. Justice League Dark doesn't need any of the big ones in there. Doesn't need Wonder Woman. Doesn't need Batman.
No.
It needs, Constantine, Swamp Thing, Zatanna. Perfect. You know what I mean? Like, give us the weirdos in there who, as you said, can stand on their own.
And the other one is Suicide Squad, which is the Dirty Dozen, isn't it? Essentially, the movie The Dirty Dozen is Suicide Squad. And if you go back to the original Suicide Squad, which was a war comic, and then through the Bronze Age one and to the current thing, that's betraying the archetypes in a way, isn't it? Consciously, depending on the team.
Yes,
I think.
I
there's
think
always someone who will betray them.
When, you have the kind of the very distinct characters and archetypes that kind of play off one another, where guy A loves X and girl C fucking hates X, and then you stick them together, and then that kind of drama and interplay kind of kicks off.
I think you're right, man. I think we are stepping slightly away from what you talked about on the message about archetypes. We're almost walking into tropes, aren't we? With story tropes, I think a little bit.
So so archetypes, Dan. You found a wonderful article about it.
It kind of covered a lot of subjects, and I said, like, why don't you pick out a character, maybe like their kind of archetype, and I had a couple, but I kind of went for an easy one, and that's...
We're going to do a one we like and one we don't like. Is that kind of the plan?
Sure, okay.
Yeah. Cool.
I'll go for one I like. I've gone for the anti-hero, being as an example, Frank Castle, the Punisher. Let's ring that.
I'm
bell
very
for the
similar to
Punisher.
that one, man. Yeah, go on, go on, and I might add into it.
That whole kind of there's the different things about, like, is a hero, do they choose the path they go on? And there was some ambiguity with the Punisher brought in later on, which I'm not against, but he was very much like something's happened to him, and his reaction is to go out and do what he does. And the classic anti-hero thing is maybe you're trying to do the right thing, but maybe the methods they're using would be frowned upon by society, or the society they operate in. And for good or ill, like the Punisher character and anti-heroes in general, they've got it's hard to say they got way more popular, because they sort of became popular in the sort of the 90s, and they haven't really ever stepped out of it. The anti-heroes almost become the hero.
In a way, it's Conan.
Yeah.
You know, in a way, it's Tarzan as well. That sort of stoic, quiet, sort of, you know, there's an intelligence there, but they're not necessarily talking like fucking Robert Downey Jr. in an Iron Man film.
In virtually every story I've read of Conan, and I've read quite a few, he steps out of the societal norms to do the right thing.
Yeah.
There's loads of times when, like, he's the society's in doesn't want something to happen, and he's like doesn't even say something, this fucking acts, and like, this is what happens.
I suppose in a sort of modern psychology sort of point of view, which is a bit COD psychology, isn't it? They're called Sigma males now, aren't they? That's the guy who's kind of an alpha male who steps outside of it and isn't bothered by, you know, being part of a gang or anything.
Yeah, I guess it's that whole thing of you get into the morality of what's right and what's wrong, and is one person or enacting their will, what they think's right, is that does the might make right in that example? But I think the anti-hero is a good way of exploring those kind of themes.
I think you've almost got a range of it as well. I think if you've got, you know, anti-hero becomes sort of stoic figure, but it also often depends on how it's written. So at one end you might have Frank, and let's face it, Dredd as well. Yeah. I mean, Dredd's like that. I think they're the two who are, let's hopefully mostly consistently written. But you've also got Wolverine, who sits on that range somewhere, depending on how he's written. You've even got Cyclops, depending on how he's written. And let's face it, you've even got Batman, depending on how he's written, in that range somewhere. That's the kind of...
I think depending on how it's written is the most important part of it. Because like so many of these characters that we may name could lean into... They could end up in lots of different sections, couldn't they? Depending on just the writers or the creative team's take on it. You know, like Batman, even though... I
mean, Batman's a team character now. I'm fucking...
But
my favourite is when he's written as a single guy, you know.
He should, for me, he should always be a fucking single guy. His strongest tales is always when it's him. The fucking take Batman the animated series. It was the best because it was just fucking him. I know they introduced it when it became Batman and Robin Adventures, but let's face it, when it was just him, it was fucking magnificent.
Yeah, there's actually not that much just him. If you look at sort of recent Batman history, it's a shame. You got Batman Year One, you know, jumps out, but when you look at even Dark Knight, there's a Robin in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a Robin.
Yeah.
Is Court of Owls, is he on his own?
No.
There's always like, even if it's just even if it's
also,
someone to just go, oh, how are you, Bruce? You know, that sort of thing.
You've got that Talon character as well in Court of Owls. That was a great little solo series, by the way, of a sort of solo, single-minded, out of the system kind of guy. Yeah, really good. Yeah, and Rip do some of that as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I mean, obviously, Punisher was always going to be on your ticket, wasn't it, Dan?
An easy one. I was either thinking that or Cap, which is kind of like the opposite end, but they sort of both. I wouldn't ideally cast them as kind of like flip side of a coin, because Cap's a lot more noble, but they've got similar backgrounds in as much that they're both soldiers.
I think there's an unprofessional dark. Sorry, Tom, go on.
No, please go on.
I was going to say, I think there's also an unprofessional dark side of the character you're describing in a number of early Image comic characters as well. You know, is it Chapel? Is that the one? You're like, come on, guys. You know, it's like
Death Blow, which is essentially fucking
underdeveloped. Yeah.
I think with Cap and Punisher, they've had very similar experiences, but how they respond to it was very different ways.
Yeah,
which is kind of what makes them interesting as a pairing.
That's why that moment in Civil War is so valuable between the two of them.
Yeah.
And it gets repeated.
Yeah. He just fucking decks him, doesn't he? Says like,
and he just keeps punching him. And he says, "I can't
Punisher
fight back."
kills a criminal. Punisher kills a criminal. Captain America starts kicking the shit out of him. Maybe do it like a little bit more than Captain America normally does, because he wants.
Keeps challenging him.
He's challenging him, and he goes, "I'm not going to fight you."
But that's the argument. He can't change. He's the scorpion on the back of the frog. Or that story is. He's that, isn't he? It's in his nature.
Yeah. So I mean, what's fascinating about a lot of the characters that we know, whether it be from mainstream, indie, or wherever it was, the archetypes usually talk about something. Not basic's the wrong word for it, but it is that sort of shell, isn't it? But over the years and over the decades, creative teams have worked to sort of take them out of that, haven't they, and put them in another box. If you think of all the stuff that Steve Rogers has been through, he may have started off for the first 30 years of his publishing life just being the classic hero, the epic hero, and now is he just that? No, he's not just that. He's he's the tragic hero. He's he's the anti-hero. He's been so many of these different things, isn't he, over the lifespan. So in some ways to bottle them into one section is a bit of a simplification, but I think in general the pure origin of the character is that one thing, isn't it? I think.
To go back to that, I was trying to think of like the.
That's how we're treating it anyway. We're before anyone jumps on and goes, I think you'll find they're actually this.
Well, it's in the very sort of briefest sort of shorthand. Superheroes are the modern Greek myths. I think that's the argument we're kind of starting at. It's not always true, but
I was trying to pitch with the Joseph Campbell ones. You got the three types, which is the one, the intentional hero, two, the reluctant hero, and three, the accidental hero. I was trying to think, where would you place Spider-Man on that if it was his origin?
He's accidental, and then he grows into the others. Yes. I think that's the thing. I think you're right, man. He's got to start because it's an accident.
I think the Joseph Campbell thing is almost the starting step for a lot of these things. They start off with this, like, if I'm gonna just mention the sort of one that I was leaning towards, I would say that my favorite one possibly I would categorize as the reluctant hero, but that could be up for discussion, which is why I'm interested to see what you guys think of it.
That hurts my tummy sometimes.
But I thought of reluctant,
waiting for them to act. Sometimes,
but it was almost, I thought of like the characters and the stories I liked, and then trying to think, well, what does that sit best in? So rather than being reluctant in an obvious sense, I mean, in the article, it's, for instance, talks about Jack Burton in one of the greatest films of all time, Big Trouble in Little China. Whereas for me, I was thinking, well, one of my favourite tropes, which we've talked about all the time on this show, is the old grizzled badass who is not doing it anymore, who has walked away from it. Take an Old Man Logan. I mean, there's so many different versions of this character throughout publishing history. Yeah, King of Spies, they're the badass, but they're not doing it anymore. And there's something that happens that instigates them doing it again. Do you know what I mean? So I was thinking, if that was one of them, I think initially it would be the reluctant hero, but then you could categorize. There's lots of subcategories. You could, the tragic hero. It could be the anti-hero. It could be all of these things. But I think at its basis, that storyline, like an Old Man Logan, is the reluctant hero. I know his past is lots of other things, but that's how I would categorize that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think my problem with that one is I don't like waiting for them to take action, because in most comics they're the reluctant hero for half an issue.
But I think, but at the same time, I think I like that, the boiling of the kettle. Do you know what I mean? The build up.
You must have hated Old Man Logan, Tony, because he doesn't pop the claws out.
He doesn't.
Yeah, I don't rate Old Man Logan, because I just think I'm not a big fan of Old Man. I think mostly because fucking Hawkeye's blind, but he can shoot arrows. Yeah, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? All this sort of thing. But I mean, they do. Sorry, Tom. Go on,
I was thinking, what about your favorite issue of Master of Kung Fu?
Well, the whole of Master of Kung Fu is the reluctant hero. Yeah. But he is the hero. So he doesn't want to commit to violence because he's a pacifist, but he does in every issue. He does commit to violence, apart from one single issue where he doesn't encounter anything he has to act on. I mean, everyone talks about that single issue. I can't remember. No, is it 68? I can't remember it now. But it's a Zek Doug Munch issue where it's all about him not fighting, and it's got the yin yang jigsaw puzzle.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
And but the thing is, he doesn't walk down the street and see a man beating up a woman, which he's going to act about. You know. He doesn't encounter that, but it is an issue where he contemplates it. You know, he meditates on it, and literally at one point.
Your point is right, because how often have we seen the Spider-Man meme of the trope of the suit's in the bin, he's walking away in the rain, and we all know like that's not him going to the bakery and picking up a loaf of bread and a newspaper isn't going to sell comics.
Exactly.
I think that's why the storylines I like are usually someone at the end of their path. Do you know what I mean? Someone that's given it, who has left it all behind, and they don't have a monthly publishing schedule. Do you know what I mean? The story starts, and it was done. The Clint Eastwood Unforgiven, it was all done, and then they start again, and that's a story trope that I like.
The one that I've always talked. Me and Dan have mentioned this before. Is Superman? Is it Superman 2 where he gives up his powers?
Yeah,
and it just hurts me. Literally, I feel pain until he gets them back again. When he gets beaten up by that old bloke, don't look like he'd pick up a plate in a diner.
Oh man, that was like a knife in my heart as a kid. I can fucking bear that.
Yeah, because I didn't understand that. Of course, he's going to get his powers back. I'm like, oh my god, what is happening? Yeah.
That whole thing about the pacifist. I might have told the story before, but there's an episode of G.I. Joe where there's a bunch of Joes in the jungle. Along with the October Guard, I think it is, and they get captured by these pirates, like these river pirates, and there's the two of you going to fight to the death, and whoever loses, like all your guys are going to get taken out. So they choose the medic, the G.I. Joe, who's an absolute fucking pacifist. He's called Lifeline. He's like won't fight.
Yeah. And
they choose horror shows like this fucking great big like Russian dude looks like a fucking bear. And this Lifeline guy's an absolute expert in Aikido, and he just flipping the guy around, not hitting him. And the guy's like, "Why don't you fucking hit me?" And he just starts flipping like Steven Seagal in his ass. And it's a great fucking.
It's like that scene in. Is it the Presidio with Sean Connery where he goes, "I'm going to fight you with just my thumb." He's in that bar, and that dude apparently just does him with his thumb. It's a bit like that, isn't it? Yeah.
There's a good bit in Rising Sun where he does that when he gets like faced by two bodyguards, and he whacks one in the throat, and the guy's like, ugh. He goes, if you resort to violence, you already lost. What are you doing, John? And he's like, okay.
But I mean, that's Master of Kung Fu, and that is it. I mean, it's the ideal of what we should be. We shouldn't be fucking punching people left, right, and centre. But for example, if a woman's getting a kicking in an alleyway, we know we can trust him. We know he'll step in.
It's that classic sort of like, look, I could destroy you all, but please don't start. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Don't start it because I'll finish it. Do you know what I mean?
What was that book you was reading recently? The superhero one where he's in the coffee shop, and then the guy
Crimson
comes in. Crimson something.
Oh, that's very much
That's taken a turn in issue 3. Wait till you see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It picked up again.
Just all waiting for the moment when it's like it's gonna fucking kick off. This guy's gonna.
Yeah. He shows his fucking skills in issue 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good series. That.
Yeah.
But that's another especially indie comics example of that reluctant. It is that tale, and that's one of the reasons I'm drawn to that tale, because it is that the old grizzled Batman archetype.
But part of me does think when you're reading something like that that happens in the Marvel universe, especially these days when they're not sort of standalone series. Spider-Man's getting a kicking off the Rhino and stuff. You think, Thor will be past in a minute, it'll be fine.
That's why I think
it's got an Avengers card on it.
Yeah, the standalones always when this works better. Do you know what I mean? It's always because I don't. Much like Tom, when you were talking about manga, there's an end to it. There's going to be an end to it. Yeah. These sort of reluctant, old, grizzled veterans, I don't want to read 60 issues of them doing the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? There's a story. They got to do that, and then either they die or they ride off into the sunset.
I'll tell you what's interesting from that point of view, and one that plays constantly through a number of different archetypes is Grendel. So you've got the Hunter Rose, the Belletic kind of rooftop dwelling, razor sharp bladed one. You've got the future Mad Maxy kind of sci-fi one. You've got and then you've got the recent one, which is more of a step towards the Punisher. Just like fucking shithouse. Nobody can beat him kind of thing. I kind of like that they play with that, don't they? With that series, that's really interesting. If anything, that's why I think it's an individual and well-regarded series, because they flip you about.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
It kind of constantly reinvents itself. Yeah, I have to try and find that issue with G.I. Joe now.
Yeah. What archetype are you drawn to, Tony?
Oh, mine was what Dan said. We're very much in the same. I did the there's so much crossover between ours that we were the same. I did the sort of the loner, the stoic, the stone-faced killer, but with a mission and an intelligence hid behind. Not a bloke this will counter-react to my least favourite one later, but not a man who thinks he has to fucking say everything every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so it's very Punisher-esque.
Yeah, the ones that we've chosen, the stories and the characters we like, dwell within a darkness, don't they? The ones that we've already picked. There's a darkness there. So I'm interested to see what Tom's particular choice is.
So my choice, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about when I started enjoying this kind of archetype. And so the example, okay, I'll give you so I'm 10 years old, just back from school. I've put BBC Two on. Star Trek: The Next Generation is playing, and my favourite character is Worf, and it's the tragic hero, but particularly the one who's fallen from honor, who's like was honourable and fallen, and now is trying to make himself back to that path, and that's absolute cat for me. That kind of idea of like, and from a comic point of view, Hellboy's a really easy one for that in terms of like that kind of fallen from honor. Actually, like Frank Miller's Ronin is a really good one for that too. In terms of like that sort of and like a lot of Ronin stories.
Lone Wolf and Cub's a good one.
Lone Wolf and Cub, Lone Wolf and Cub, and that kind of like the fallen from honor, tragic heroes archetype. I really enjoy.
Interesting.
And there's some aspects of the tragic hero I don't enjoy. Like I don't need a lot of monologues about how sad they are. Yeah. But actually, the kind of like that particular thing of like I fall, they were.
And I think there's a character who wouldn't say how sad they are. Yeah.
Stoic. They were once doing what they loved, and they can't do it anymore, and they've got to try and rebuild to that point.
So, what do you think? Here's a question: what do you think in your own personal psychology draws you to that character? Is there something? Is it a reflection a little bit of? Because for me, mine is a little bit. I think, obviously, we all know my background, but I think. What about you? Is there something?
I think for me, it's the seeing someone in a bad situation trying to make it better.
Right.
Does that make sense in terms of that kind of idea of like they're moving. They know they're a bad part, and they're trying to make it better for themselves.
Are those characters only capable of helping themselves and not accepting help from others? Maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of an interest. Yeah, that probably says a lot about me.
Absolutely, But it all comes back to Jung. Is what the argument is in relation to a lot of archetypes.
But that sort of like that lost honor thing, it's like catnip, and like multiple times in other media where like that type of character I really enjoy. But yeah, Frank Miller's Ronin, Lone Wolf and Cub. Weirdly, also, if you think of like Nightwing, for example, Nightwing's background. I mean, like he was Dick Grayson, circus performer who lost his family. So it's quite a tragic start, and then trying to rebuild to that point. And we may not be a massive fan of the Bat family, but trying to rebuild that kind of get that family back again.
Well, there's also the age-old tale of criminals who are now trying to be heroes. Do you know what I mean? That class is the same thing. It's like I was bad, and now I'm trying to.
Well, it's the inbuilt. It's like with a lot of these things. It's the inbuilt structure of guilt as well.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, Invincible, Omni-Man, goes through that process, and it's I find it a really interesting process. So that's like someone who, and you see the fall in that as well, right?
And if anyone's reading Battle Beast, there's a little sense of that going on.
I can't wait to catch up on the new issue.
You catch a little tiny chink of light shining through.
Yeah. They do it just a little bit, don't they? Just a panel.
You're not sure it's going to happen. You're not sure.
But you just see a panel of him just looking, and there's a pause, isn't it? And it's amazing how they put that.
He takes pity on someone in this one. Yeah.
Wow.
Vince/Stan, have you played Mass Effect?
Mass Effect 2 is one of the greatest games of all time, hands down. It's my favourite game series.
Rex is that kind of that. Yeah. That kind of that's a shit. Like in terms of a character again who is it's almost like it's Worf again basically. It all goes back to Worf. I don't know why. I just really like Worf.
Yeah.
Michael Dorn plays him incredibly well.
Yeah, Michael Dorn's great. Also, the character most ever in Star Trek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like an honor, a position they've held high, and they've fallen, and then they're looking to kind of sometimes not even to regain it, but just to kind of gain an understanding and peace with themselves.
A lot of it is also there's a recognition aspect to it, isn't it? It's that I'm trying to work hard, so my so the parents will acknowledge what I've done for them. Do you know what I mean? It's that there's a little building of that into it. You're just trying to sometimes fruitlessly, endlessly doing it.
What's your feelings on Magneto, Tom? Because he's isn't he?
That's really interesting. I think when Magneto's
written more complicated.
When Magneto's written well, I think he's a great example of that. And also, but he's also he's got to be a contrast to Xavier. I think Solo.
It's also a victim of the Holocaust. Don't forget.
Yeah, that's kind of one thing when I say written well in terms of.
I think if you're going to take it back to the three basic ones, he's the accidental hero. I think for me, and to start with, because his intention.
Well, because he's a mutant. It's an accident
in some ways, but
genetics,
his motivations. Well, actually, no, possibly. I'm just thinking his motivations at the beginning, because obviously he was a villain though, but his motivations were, I'm doing this.
Depends on the version with all these X-Men. I think that's the problem. So you got him discovering his powers during the war and stuff like that. Which is, you can see him almost as a hero, then villain, then hero, then villain, then hero, then villain, or you can see him as a villain, then hero. Then it's like he just flip flops so much. But also Wolverine. I mean, Wolverine's done some fucking terrible things.
But the thing is, if you think about, and this is an interesting topic of debate, really. Like if we look at when they say intentional, it also works for villains, but the villains don't see themselves as a villain. So if you say Magneto was the intentional hero, actively sets off on a quest to achieve a specific aim, that's exactly what he does. The only problem is he sees himself as a hero. What do we see him as? So to him, he is the intentional hero, but to the rest of the world, actually, he's a villain. Do you know what I mean?
There's that really good Cullen Bunn Magneto series where
it's got that amazing cover as well, where their mask, the helmet's made out of barbed wire. Yeah, brilliant. Love that.
But in that, he's recovering from a lot of guilt and recovering his powers at the same time. And I think what we're talking about here is, especially with this little part of the conversation, is the psychology and the guilt and some people with PTSD, some people with hero complexes and stuff like that. How it works out, It's incredible, and I think this is the way you go in approaching your character before writing them. Sometimes, if you haven't had this sort of thought about them, if you just think, he's badass because he's got a fucking black helmet and a sword, you think that's not enough. There needs to be more thought. He's got to be a fleshed out character and real person.
You could do a Magneto series, and it probably has been one where he hunts Nazis.
6 issues.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and he goes around and he hunts Nazis either, and you could jump through time in terms of immediately after the Holocaust and all the way up to modern day in South America.
He famously does it in the movie, doesn't he? So he confronts him in that bar, doesn't he?
You could make that whole thing a big long story of him hunting throughout time. But what I find more interesting is his his philosophical debate with Charles Xavier, how they, because from Magneto's point of view, in the very basic sense, is they're the next step.
There's a platonic nature of justice thing going throughout him, which is so absorbing to me. Yeah.
I mean,
and I think that's
maybe it's controversial, but he was hunting down a series of kind of people he kind of blamed for what happened, and he came across someone who had kind of gone through a redemption arc of their own and was like, what I've got,
which is the nuance of the world, man, isn't it?
And it's like, but how does the character does he kind of let that go, or it doesn't make you a hero or a villain either way, really. It's kind of like you said, that nuance, the grey area, which is where interesting stories can be found.
And I think there are some archetypes of the tragic hero, particularly, for example, like V from V for Vendetta, right? There is an interesting story there, but the character is paper thin. And I don't mean that necessarily. You mean in terms there is not a lot of backstory for the character, a lot of.
Well, that's the mystery, isn't it? You find out why it's V, don't you? And the psychosis, and
there's a lot of these characters, certainly ones that we're mentioning, that have had so many layers over the decades. But very simply, some of them were like, we just want a hero that's going to beat up Nazis. You know, we're going to put this in a comic.
Well, that's the
it was a very
early
simple
start of it.
Yeah.
But then, just to,
one of the archetypes. Go on, Tom.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say one last sort of like example of that style of hero that I quite enjoy, like the Last Ronin.
Yes.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one, right?
Yeah.
That brilliant. Do you know what I mean, in terms of like actually there is that fall from like their heyday.
Yeah.
And
I think with that character, you're prepared for them to die mentally when I'm reading it as well, which is a big part of the reading experience for that sometimes, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, apologies, Dan. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I was saying one of the things that kind of fucks me off about some of the archetypes is people using the lazy Batman, Spider-Man thing of a loved one's died, and that galvanizes me into dressing up in a costume.
Forced MacGuffin almost, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like, man, you got to build on that. That's not.
I mean, that's the tragic hero, isn't it? I mean, I think I'd agree with you. I would say that the tragic hero is normally one that doesn't really gel with me, and maybe that's because.
No, makes sense. It can be done badly really well.
Yeah.
It can be really easy to do badly.
Yeah. It's that shorthand of just a minor tragedy, and for whatever reason, some mild-mannered person suddenly goes fucking bananas and starts acting like they never would. It's where the ones that I feel like stand the test of time, they've got this kind of a basis built up, and then when this has happened, off they go. I know Spider-Man, if you look at it retroactively, it's like, well, that's how that started, but it's come on since there, and perhaps what worked years and years ago, as a kind of readers, we're a bit more kind of cultured to it and wise to the tricks and what works and what doesn't. I feel like you have to move it on some.
Interesting look into all our brains.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we haven't really glanced upon I think we've touched on stuff that doesn't really gel with us, but Tony, in terms of archetypes that just when you see it, you're like, it's the least favourite.
Least favourite. Well, mine is. I've taken a bit of a left turn on this, and I've actually chosen the refusal to apply to archetypes, which is going on in a couple of the big two, especially Marvel at the moment, where everyone has become the same person seemingly. Right. So a refusal to have even just those three separate journeys that we've had. Everyone now sounds the same, talks the same, acts the same. Yeah. So in the old days, we'd have Spider-Man and Hawkeye would be the snarky characters, and you'd have Thor, and you'd have Iron Man and Captain America, sort of quite more sensible. Now everyone's throwing one-liners out, left, right, and centre.
It's this amazing irony of, but we're all different. Yeah, but you're all so different. You sound exactly the fucking same.
Take away the art, just leave the word balloons on the page. You couldn't tell who anyone was these days. A lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time. And the refusal to have...
Certainly, they do put Paul's letter in a different font, so you wouldn't know.
That's true. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh, no, he's a human now, so I'm not sure if they've changed that. I haven't read that issue now.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry.
Maybe, I don't know yet.
I'll step back.
I don't know. They might, I think up until, But I think it really does my nut in, and I really enjoy... Because I recognise these people. I've been reading them for fucking 50-odd years. I know how they should sound. And when you get them coming in, that's what your mum says every fucking 5 minutes, seemingly. It's like everyone comes in with the equivalent of, the in-betweeners, your mum jokes every fucking minute. And it just does me in. That's not how they are. The next thing you get Moondragon going in. Oh, I can see your knob. No, that's not how Moondragon... No, it's like this. It's like a refusal to apply. It's almost like they just want to sound clever on the page.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a rant, that one, but it's
and that's just bad writing, isn't it? It's like, for instance, like in a Batman comic, just say there's a massive devastation and Batman and a bunch of heroes are trying to like tidy things up, and someone instead of helping, they spend like fucking 2 pages going, with all your money you could solve all this, blah 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 blah. It's like, how about you stop fucking talking and actually do some help?
Yeah, although how they've just put Miss Marvel in all the classic X-Men stories, so that she's just been in Giant Size 1 talking to Sunfire, and Sunfire says, "How do you know my name?" She says, "I'm a nerd. That's how I know." And I'm like, "Oh God, shoot me in the head."
Yes.
Just piss on the original story, please. Yeah.
For what?
For
what? You're burning all this shit up for what?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. So, looking at this article has been my reference, Dan, for this thing. as it says here, the archetypal hero manifests as the 1, epic hero, 2, everyman hero, 3, classic hero, 4, tragic hero, 5, anti-hero, and 6, superhero. I'm not going to read all the names, all the details of all of these. Which one of those do you think we don't see enough of in comics? And that includes independent comics as well, because I know there's a lot of indie comics doing stuff that, across the board. I would say anti-heroes. There are a dime a dozen fucking everywhere. They're, because a lot of it's a copy and paste of a Punisher or a Batman, isn't it? Sometimes when it comes to superheroes. Are there any you can particularly think of? The epic hero. That's
I kind of think that is, or it's either nearly everyone or nearly nobody for me.
Yeah.
So the epic hero is Thor, isn't it? It is Superman.
Do you think the other way to phrase the epic hero could be the fated hero?
Right.
Okay.
So in terms of
in some ways,
by the quality of their birth,
you're fated to do this.
Yeah. The two examples they got here is, for instance, Luke Skywalker of Star Wars and Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. That's two massive examples.
Can I be honest? It's an archetype I absolutely can't stand.
Fair enough.
Because it implies like there's no way for them not to have been the hero. They were always going to do it. No choices they could have made.
There has to be an infallibility. There has to be a fallibility inserted into it for me.
I am tired of people's bloodline being important.
Fucking hell, yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you are special. You were born special. You were born to do this. Whereas I prefer. I mean, it's probably the everyman is. You had nothing special about you, and you stepped up and did something special. Yeah. That's more interesting to me. But a lot of the classic stories are Luke Skywalker, Harry Potter. It's fucking the lineage goes on and on, doesn't it?
But the problem with that is then you end up with Star Wars, where there are only 2 fucking families in the whole universe.
Yeah. And in the fucking new ones, right? Even though I couldn't stand the last 2. In what was the middle one? Was it it wasn't the Last Jedi.
Last
Jedi.
The Last Jedi. The only bit I liked was when there was a bit of dialogue that says, "There's absolutely nothing special about you. Your parents were no one." And I was like, "Brilliant! That's fantastic. That means anyone has the chance to be a hero." And then they undid it, and then
well, that's the problem. Is Luke was us when we were seeing it as kids. We were Luke.
But then you take if we take the fated hero, that is one I don't particularly enjoy. So Spider-Man, when it's an accident, right, where he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and got bit by the spider, and then I've seen various retcons where actually his parents invented the spider, so it always had to be him. They were spies, and I was like, what the I don't need to know who.
I just blank it out, Tom.
The origin.
Yeah.
I don't
need to know who Peter's parents are. Uncle Ben's the important one. Not the.
It's like when they decided. It's like when they decided Wolverine, Jean Grey, and Cyclops are in a Menage a 3. I just blank it out. I don't think about it. I blank it out and read onwards. Yeah.
It's usually, I feel like, when a writer doesn't have anything to say, so they've got to go back and tweak the origin to sort of say, well, now this is my stamp on it. That I changed this bit.
Yeah.
It's like this Doctor Who with the Timeless Child. So
and what?
We've got this.
Yeah. Sorry.
We've got this absolutely solid story of Doctor Who. You can carry on putting the story forward. But you want to go back and fuck up like the lodestone of Doctor Who.
The good thing about that is all the fans loved that. They did not at all. They did not at all.
Don't do that.
The other thing, I mean, I know we're speaking a lot about TV and movies in this today, but the other thing is the one thing that irked me with Superman was his parents were villains.
Right, yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. They had the wrong intentions.
I guess that it also kind of like shifts it to make like, well, that's what he's chosen to be good regardless.
Yeah, I know.
That's the good thing to spin out of that. But like, I see what you mean. It feels very much a bit invincible, like where it's like, well, you were sent there to actually dominate and
do a lot of shagging.
Can you do that?
That's if I was sent to another planet, though. To be fair, that's what I'd want to do.
What do you mean, another planet?
Especially if Tony Osmond was like an alien that had been dropped onto Earth, and he finally got that recorded message from his parents going, And son, you have to fuck anything that you see. Fuck
Mate,
anything
I'd have the sexual luck of that character in Resident Alien. I'd probably manage one. That's about as lucky as I get.
Fall into a barrel full of tillets and come out sucking your thumb.
Yeah.
So something we just to try and take it back on topic.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Something we don't see a lot in indie comics is like just a classic superhero. And I mean, do you know what I mean? In terms of just like a cookie cutter.
Yeah, I think America has a lot more of that.
Mm.
So if you go to certain areas of American indie comics, if you go to an American con, there's a lot of superheroes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're a bit more indie and a bit more rebellious in this country because maybe we're brought up on stuff like 2000 AD and stuff. We don't. I think you're right, Tom. We don't see it as much here. I don't think so.
I think there's also
Mr. Butcher.
There's the unbelievable cynicism of the great British public. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's it's like I'm going to stand up.
We
for
grew
good.
up. We grew up in Orwell.
Stick a piss, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing.
A lot of the indie superhero groups that I'm part of the comics, a lot of them are fucking like, man, that's fucking Spider-Man or that's Batman or
Right.
really
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that's Wildcats or it's God bless them, man. If they want to make those comics, they can make those comics.
And it's always in the execution, as we always say here, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, it's always in the execution. But yeah, I think you're right. I think we are a bunch of fucking ironic, satirical, cynical fuckers over here, aren't we?
You know, once again, a nod to that Return of the Crimson Justice, or I've forgotten the name of it now.
I think so. I think that's right.
Shame
have
on
to
me.
find it. I got it here somewhere.
But that is very much archetypes, tropes, just cliches, everything. Do you know what I mean? You could say there's not, and it's going to sound negative when I say it, there's not an original concept in it, but the execution is done in a way that's like, this is good and this is fresh and this is
Man, I'll take a simple premise with excellent execution any fucking day of the week.
Me too. Definitely.
Over sort of something that's over convoluted and they can't fucking deliver.
Yeah.
Firepower. The best Batman book by far is the Chris Samney book, which takes it back to its roots.
Yeah.
He just fights, classic villains.
Yeah.
But he's done well.
Exo Man of War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giant
They
Exo
took
Man
it
of
back.
War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those oh Christ, what's the name of the series that's just coming out? It's the one. Fuck.
Shadow Man.
I was thinking Shadow Man, but I was also thinking of. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll think of it.
Bloodshot.
I think yes, Bloodshot as well. Like Bloodshot is, again, that's a really interesting one you can play around. Yeah.
Do you remember when they did Exo when he was living in Brooklyn and worrying about him wearing cotton and stuff like that, and he's like, nah, come on.
No.
We just want him fucking fighting big geezers.
It's almost like this kind of like idea goes along and like a kind of whale in the sea, get all these barnacles and like sea life attached to itself. You need to just fucking trim it back down to like the sleek idea that works.
Fucking hell,
massively, which is the big theory, isn't it, with Marvel and DC at the moment? It's the thing that they're just overblown, ridiculous, too many characters
full of
spinning
barnacles.
off other ones, full of barnacles. You just need one Batman book, one Superman book, one, and put out 2 comics a month, and you'll make money.
Look what Mad Cave are doing.
Yeah.
In terms of like with the what's the robot character? Is it from Mad Cave? The robot soldier character.
No, you're thinking
Ghost Machine. Ghost
Machine. Sorry, apologies.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Ghost Machine, right, mate? They're doing it.
Yeah.
Although they are beginning to complicate. We're getting spin-off titles now.
Yeah. I just that initial run of like
careful,
there is some.
We've got the Sisterhood and we've got a Hyde Street spin-off.
Okay,
and,
fair enough.
It's interesting. A lot of the characters we've chosen among us, there's like the stoicism. You know, that's a kind of a thing at the moment. That kind of like fucking getting your head down, keeping the focus and do the job.
I wonder whether that's because the world is now so noisy. All we want is just that dude who just walks about fucking smacking people in the guts. Do you know what I mean? We just because it's all in our ears all the time. You know, we don't want that anymore. We're all. I mean, in one way or other, most of us have stepped away from social media on this call.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's one of the reasons why.
And they're all
like
they're figures of action. Do you know what I mean? It is less about.
Let's talk more action.
Yeah, it's like just things have to be done, and they're going to get done.
Yeah, I was moaning about this to Tony earlier, but like this is like the 15th year in a row where like the rise of fascism is coming about in my lifetime.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, is that what it is?
Yeah.
There you go again. You keep chocolate in the fridge. You're a Nazi.
Yeah.
Well, I keep chocolate in the fridge. You had to this summer. It was very warm. In fact,
that was Dan's version of saying. Do you remember when Dan said years ago? He said everyone's a paedophile. All you got to do is keep chocolate in the fridge, and you're a paedophile. Do you remember that? I was still stuck in my head. That it makes me laugh.
Remember that.
Fucking hell. Oh dear. But what are your thoughts on archetypes? We'll put a little link in the Slack and the Substack post. We'll put a link to the sort of article as well, the reference that I have just been pillaging for this entire conversation.
Have you used the Joseph Campbell guide to write your story? Have you based your characters and creations on an archetype?
Yeah. And the thing is, I think archetypes. It's. Do you think when it comes to creators, everyone wants to be a trendy, hip creative? Like, oh no, I don't need to do that. I'm doing something fresh. I'm doing something original. I'm doing my own thing. Do you think they're just fooling themselves because everything essentially is linked back to?
I think the heroes, what we're talking about here applies to it in the very broadest terms, adventure comics. I think it doesn't really apply itself to auto-bio quite so much.
Yeah.
No.
And some...
It
does a bit though, doesn't it? It does a bit because you're the tragic hero of your own story sometimes.
I think you could, I think you can... I think they're character type. We're using hero, but they're character types.
Yeah.
And
I'm thinking about the last few recommends you did for the show. They have they have people in them.
Yeah.
What are the Hall Chronicles? I don't know, Tom.
But they are. Okay.
I feel like the more real you get, the more they
Yeah.
move away from kind of that structure of
maybe
the defined so easily.
Maybe the nearer you move to reality, the less they become archetypes.
I was about to say, like, if like we're talking real life, it's not black and white, words on a page, speech bubbles, thought bubbles. It's not, it just isn't. So there are, and when people assign archetypes to certain figures in life or whatever, that's people assigning something onto an individual, which I don't. Yeah. I think it's. I think in fiction, we can say this is like that, this is like that. But
I think it's an honourable challenge to translate real life onto a comic page. I think a lot of my favourite prose writers, more than anything, I guess, really get to the grubbiness of life on a page, and I think it's what we did, all communally together on Hidden Lives and the Hall Chronicles, because we all worked on it. Yeah. But I think that's what we did. We tried our best to do that. I think.
And I think if you look at like Follow Me In, for example,
like
that had some real gut punch moments in there. Whereas like if you were
that has been real.
If you're writing this out, you would never include those moments in there.
Yeah.
Or Breakwater, which was a sad story by the sea that you wouldn't.
Or in a weird way, in a comedic way, because life's funny, isn't it? In Minimum Wage, they're all actual things that happened to Bob that he translated into this sort of pseudo autobiography. Yeah,
that little saying always comes back to haunt me. Like when you're younger, you think, "I hope nothing bad happens to me," and when you get older, you think, "Well, when something bad happens to me, I hope it's at least funny."
Yeah. It's weird because I write this weekly thing now that's turned into a bit of a ramble about what's going on in the world to start with, and then I get onto the comics. I almost feel like, I wonder what shit's going to happen to me this week that I can translate into something to talk about.
Yeah. I think there's a Terry Pratchett quote. I could be misquoting terribly here.
Right.
It's like, in life, everyone queues up for the shit to fall on them, and you realise it's a circle.
Okay.
It's not a queue. It's just like it's going to come around again.
Yeah. My turn for something shit to happen.
Yeah. Shit sandwich, man. Sandwich.
God, he was a good bloke, wasn't he, Terry Pratchett?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about him yesterday with me and Cliff.
Yeah.
That whole thing with the Vimes boot thing and why people are poor. That is fucking evergreen. That is.
I think it's
Which bit's that, Dan?
Well, essentially, there's the Vimes character who's the head of the guard, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's saying like how the poor stay poor is essentially they spend what little money they've got on a boot that only has like a certain amount of weeks in it. Where if you've got a few quid in your pocket, you can buy like a bit of a better boot, and that'll last like 10 times as long. So once you kind of get trapped in this cycle of poverty, he does it like a million times better than I'll ever be able to do it on this. But if you look it up, that's the gist of it, isn't it, right, Tom?
You're absolutely, yeah. And the other thing with the Vimes character is he came from poverty and married into money. So he's used to just buying like cheap boots that will last him 2-3 weeks. Yeah. But now he can spend 3-4 times as much on a pair of boots that will last him for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're like constantly buying boots every 2 to 3 weeks, after a year or so, you're going to spend the same amount of money. But because you haven't got that capital initially, you're always going to be down.
A metaphor for life, mate, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm sponsored by Timberland Boots. Timberland Boots. What a great shoe.
I was looking up some Timberland boots this week, actually.
In all seriousness, man,
That's close towards
Timberland, if you're listening, we'll sponsor.
Don't buy any.
I was looking at a flashlight, if that helps anyone.
Oh, yeah.
What? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Timberlands are great, man. Buy them; they're great. They're really comfortable boots. But yeah, Sorry, Pratchett.
We've been metaphorical. We've been I can't even say it. Philosophical. We've been
spiritual.
Animal, mineral, vegetable. We've been all kinds of things in this chat, and we hope you've enjoyed it. But we've got the rest of it. We've got loads of recommendations to give you, lovely people. But first, do we have any shout-outs this week, gents?
I've only got a couple. Sunday the 7th of September, if you're listening to this in the week of release, it's next Sunday. Myself and Falpy and a special guest will be at Bridlington Comic-Con, along with a number of other people, like some great guests, Jade Webster-Sharp, Ian Ashcroft, Sean Azzopardi, loads of people. Come and see us. If you're there the night before, give us a shout, because we'll probably go on the hit and miss. Give us a shout for that one. 17th to 19th of October, myself, Cliff and Mr. Strott will be haunting the halls of Baltimore Comic-Con. The Green Archer boys have also got a table at that, so go and see them. If you are at that, I know we've got quite a few American listeners now. If you're at that, make sure you come and say hello. Be nice to meet you. So
awesome.
They're mine too.
Nice. What have you got down?
Clockwork Werewolves, issue 2, Gothic steampunk horror. A group of survivors find themselves trapped in the heart of a clockwork werewolf's lair, and time is running short. Tick tock. And that is from our friends at Hellbound Media. That's got about another 5 days to go when you're listening to this. It's smashed its target, and back that if you want. That comic sounds good to you. We've got returning from the past, the cosplayer that destroyed the Earth.
Yeah, that's a nice blast from the past, isn't it? I saw that this week. Yeah.
From our friend Dan Harris. It's got to be fair old time since the last one of these came out.
I've got the stickers somewhere, because I got a load of stickers for the last one. Yeah.
Damn, I've got it. I'm just holding up my iPad.
Oh, there you go.
Very nice.
Yeah. So maybe back that, get some stickers of your own. There you go. And a couple more. We've got the Scratch Comic presents Glenn Fabry signing Peter Hogan's Black Forests, Saturday 20th of September in
Speaking
Manchester.
of Resident Alien, Peter Hogan wrote that.
Man. Yeah. Go
You're a
check
fan,
it out.
Tom, aren't you?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, really
good. Yeah.
Really good.
I really enjoyed that Black Forest. So I'm going to give it a shout out on the.
It does look really good. Yeah, I have to say. Yeah, no, totally. Man.
Tony, our own Tony's got a piece in the American Nature.
Oh yeah, thank you, mate.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah, I'll send it through. I'll send it to you, Tom. Sorry, I haven't
Please
sent it through.
Yeah.
When is that on sale? Is that on sale now?
A couple of weeks. It's like you can pre-order it from your comic shop, but it's out in a couple of weeks. Yeah. That's
fantastic.
a nice little bumper issue. They're great guys as well.
It's got
from the Santos
illustration by
sisters.
the Cliff as well, hasn't it?
Cliff's drawn some little illustrations. It's all about dodge and swerve, which is Cockney rhyming slang for perv.
It's got
my suspicions of certain pervs in comics.
Two fellas, one kind of gawping over the She-Hulk, and the other one Catwoman. And one that says "Boob sells comics," and he's right, it does.
It does, yeah. I think one of the lines in it is "I'm looking at you, Power Girl, just not in the eyes." That's one of my favourite lines in that.
You seen that one where it's the old 1950s comic, and it's got like the brunette head woman. He goes, "Why are you looking at my eyes? My fantastic tits are down here." And that's me.
Amazing. Tom, do you have anything?
Nah, it's fine, thank you.
I thought I'd ask. Just being nice.
Nah, it's good to know.
And but what would be good to know, Tom, is what you'd like to recommend, because now it's time to recommend some comics. And as you're a guest, it's kind of.
Even at this point, okay.
Yeah.
How many times is it? How many times have you been on? You got to be the most recurring person, haven't you?
I think I am. I think I'm at double figures at this point.
Good man. Of course you are. Good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, quite right too.
Cool.
Okay.
So, I am going to recommend Blue Giant. So, Blue Giant is a Japanese jazz-themed manga.
Yes! Now, for anyone who knows, I fucking know Tom well enough to know that was not an accident.
Yeah. So, it's written and illustrated by Shinichi Ishizuka. I'll talk about more of him later on. It follows a high school student, Dai Mayato, who is at that awkward age of sort of like 18 or so, where he's an adult, he can make his own decisions, but he's also got like the youth confidence, but none of the experience to back it up, who gets in their head to get into jazz, but with no formal music training, never having touched a saxophone before, just heard it on the radio, liked it, and wanted to get into jazz. And the reason I wanted to read this was because a few weeks back, you guys were talking about putting music on the page. And it's how does, again, from a manga point of view, how are they showing music on the page? And from here, it's a lot of intensity. It's a lot of speed lines. There's a lot of showing the effects of music other people are having on. And I sent a couple of panels through to the chaps. And it's just this real intensity of like him playing. And there's an interesting sort of like socio side of this, because obviously Japanese culture is very buttoned up, very you're following the rules, it's standing out as a bad thing. But that is a complete antithesis to what jazz is in terms of. And I'm not a massive fan of jazz. I've listened to a Miles Davis album or two, but not in any way. I wouldn't go to a jazz club, but jazz club though all the time.
Very popular.
The kind of the freedom of expression he's showing is very against antithesis of Japanese culture. And what's interesting is the author basically talks in. I had to translate a few interviews that he did about why he wrote this. And he spent a lot of his formative years in America. So he sort of went to university in America, and while he was there, he picked up rock climbing and jazz. And he says those are two things he brought over from Western culture back over to Japan. And the first two mangas he put together was one about rock climbing, and this one about jazz.
Okay, fair enough.
And and that's kind of where he sort of like got the enjoyment about it, and sort of again that freedom of expression, that sort of Western, not following society's rules, which again, it's all what fucking jazz is. And so there was that kind of like that I found really interesting, because I've not seen that sort of again music expressed that way in comics before, but especially in this kind of in a manga as well. There are 80 issues of it. It's quite easy to find. You can get prints pretty easily. It's also available online as well from various retailers. And I've read through issues 1 to 10.
Man. It's right on my street, that art. Yeah.
I've read issues 1 to, so when I got told, when I got asked if I could be on this on here, I read issues. Sorry, when I got asked nicely. So everyone's just giving me daggers. When I got asked if I could be on, I went through issues 1 to 10 really easily, really solid. Nice. It's all finished, and really enjoyed it.
Is it all that sort of more realistic style of manga? Is it?
It is.
I enjoy that stuff more. I think the Ikigami and all those sort of guys who are doing it. Yeah, that's the sort of thing. That sort of manga I will pick up definitely.
It follows a young protagonist, so it does have a. It is not quite. It's not Tezuka, right? It's not going to be quite as dark or wild, but it does. Yeah. It weirdly also. I know it's an easy parallel to draw. The bit I've just got to in the story reminds me a bit of Whiplash.
Okay.
In the sense, and I know that's an easy parallel to draw because again, both about jazz, both about music lessons and that kind of jazz. But he's just got a teacher.
So sorry, maybe I missed it. What sort of certificate would you, if it was a film?
I would say at the moment like a 12.
Okay. Okay. So fairly adult, but
fairly adult, but
not gross out. Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. And really interesting piece. And again, just that So speed lines use a lot of mangas, normally to represent punch and actually punch is quite an interesting one, right? We read comics, we read action comics all the time about people punching each other or swinging from building to building, but the book doesn't have to give us a black eye to do so.
Yeah.
And just because music has this shorthand of notes, we don't have to put notes on the page. We can show the effects that has.
Yeah.
And there's a bit quite early on in the series, so I don't mind saying. Hopefully, it's a little spoiler, but hopefully, if you're worried, skip ahead 30 seconds, where Dia is playing for his friend who's just about to leave, and they play he's playing the saxophone in a karaoke bar, and all we see is the friend crying afterwards.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, that's all we need, right? That shows the effect of it.
And it also shows in a similar way to having a fight is the action takes place between panels.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't need to see like notes coming out of the thing. I can just see what happens afterwards, which is kind of what it was.
It's almost more affecting that way, I think.
Yeah. I used to. I play musical. I play musical instruments. I did at school, and I do now as an adult. And being like
I've seen you play the banjo, Tom. I know.
I play the banjo. I play the banjo. I played the clarinet as a kid, so quite a similar instrument to the saxophone. And there's bits where there's just little bits where he's messing around with the reed. Where I remember as a kid doing that as well. Doing like in terms of like, oh, this reed's a bit monkey, I'm going to change it out for a fresh one. And it's just little things like that where they're talking about, they're going through chord structures and scale structures, and if you know a little about music theory, you can get something out of that. But if you don't, cool, it's just a panel or two.
Yeah, I think there's a great comparison to be made between music and a lot of good comics and visual medium. In that it's all about pacing and it's all about timing and it's all about I was talking to Cliff about this. Another thing I was talking to him about the other day was the use of a break in action in a movie. And if there's a couple of songs that do it well. There's "Come Up and See Me, Make Me Smile." The song that uses almost like a 2-second break, and just as you're about to go, what's happened to the music? Bang, it goes in, and it's all about the dramatic effect. And I think comics works like that in a way as well. Yeah. Pacing is the same as a bar almost. Yeah. Interesting.
No, this one's great. Really enjoyed it. Really good time of it. I plan to finish it off in my own time. And yeah, I thought I think it's just that sort of that time period as a man where between like 18 to 25, where you can make adult, you can go join the army, you can go drink and take all these adult choices, but your brain's not fully formed. So you've got all the confidence of youth of like being indestructible, but none of the experience to back it up. I think it's a really interesting time period that this kind of explores really well. This explores really well. It's just like, it's also, if I came to you guys and said, hey, I've never touched a saxophone in my life, I'm going to go and play saxophone now by standing on a riverbank for 6 hours a day blasting a saxophone. That's a fucking stupid way to learn the saxophone.
Yeah,
you're not my neighbour.
You probably get murdered as well.
Yeah, but when you're 18, that makes a lot of. I've got to play saxophone. I'm just going to blast it in front of a riverbank every day for 6 hours.
You got the time, haven't you? Then
you got the time. You've got the energy. You've got the elasticity in your muscles and your mind for the things to get better. And like sorry, I'm talking quite a lot on this one. Apologies, but
no, it's good, man.
I played musical instruments since I was a kid, and about 2-3 years. Actually, no, hold on, probably a bit earlier. But during the pandemic, I wanted to start learning the banjo, and I had a banjo and I picked it up and I went through the same 2 YouTube tutorials 3-4 times. And about the 4th time, I was like, "This is mad, Tom. You play it for 6 months, you get excited, you stop for a bit, and then you reset. All the progress you went disappeared. It goes. And then about 3 years ago, I got a teacher, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go to a teacher, and I'm going to go see him every other week, and then every day I'm going to go and practice for an hour every day. And that that just comes to like age of like, actually, if I need to do this, I want to put the time in and do it properly.
Yes.
And in the same way, like Dan, when you're talking about drawing Vanguard, right? You say, every day you're drawing. Yeah. Every day you're drawing, and that's how you get better at a skill, because you just. But when you're
put the time in, man.
But that's easy for me to say in my 30s.
Yeah.
When I was like 18, I was like, cool, I'm going to play saxophone by Riverbank and like piss off everyone. That was how you learn, because that's how it made sense to you. So rather than being like, oh, if I just practice for 5 minutes a day, I'd get so much better so much quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, a great snapshot at a time in people's lives.
I don't know what it is. Sorry to interrupt. Just on that subject there, Tom. I don't know what it is, but this is massively sort of prejudice, I guess. But I kind of see the Japanese as a more disciplined group of people than we are.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons I admire them, I think.
So I used to do Aikido, and you talk to people who are training there. They're like, oh yeah, we go to a school and we just train for 7 hours a day. And they talk about their kids who are getting into baseball, and their whole thing was they finish school and then go to the baseball park and just swing bats every day. And it's a discipline thing. And so Blue Giant, really great exploration of a time in someone's life where you're a fucking idiot, but also you have the elasticity to learn things. But then combine that with a antithesis of like freedom of jazz combined with like Japanese culture, which isn't like that. Yeah, a real delight to read. And also it's just, there's nothing super, like, I don't think it's going to turn into a ghost. I don't think like the soul of
Did it make you want to listen to some jazz?
Not massively, because like I don't mind jazz, but I don't love it.
But do you think an appropriate jazz soundtrack would be good while reading it?
Ooh, good question. Maybe.
Not anything with any words, of course.
Maybe. Yeah. A good question. One I haven't thought. Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Maybe the spirit of jazz will invade you.
Maybe it will. Yeah. Maybe I'll be trying to get the banjo to play jazz. It hasn't yet.
Yeah, you'll be jazzing everywhere.
Jazzing everywhere. But yeah, just a really interesting comic. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, one I can easily recommend. And again, one that is mundane. Do you know what I mean? Like it's mundane in its nature, which is quite fun. Actually, to not have again Miles Davis Jr.'s ghost isn't going to turn up.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's not going to swing in there and be like, the only thing that can beat Thanos is your saxophone.
Yeah, Jazz Kaiju will arrive.
It starts battling ghosts with like the music or something. That's fucking K-pop.
Do some pottery.
If it does, I mean, okay, but then I might be coming in with a different a different review. But at the moment, at issue 10 out of 80.
Yeah, I do laugh that it will take a massive left turn in a minute when it'll just be about boning whilst listening to jazz, and you'll be going, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah. He's just in the cuck chair all the time playing.
Back to that again.
Wow, this comic really leveled up.
But yeah,
puts down the banjo, picks up the skin flute.
Really, Dan.
The real frustrating thing?
It's gone 9 o'clock. It's that time of night.
One of the real frustrating things about playing the banjo is you have to look up like breaking the banjo string. Which
God.
Is like,
which is also.
I'm quietly on a work computer, you know what I mean? Like I want to buy, where do I buy banjo strings from? And and before you know it's on my list, I've got to talk to HR again.
Wow.
If you've got the safe search turned off.
Oh yeah. Well, that's how I live my life. You've got to have a set, you know.
Who has the safe search on?
Yeah.
Right. People who want to remain in employment.
But yes, Blue Giant, great book.
Nice, really nice. Tony, what have you got?
So my first one is The Jungle, issue 1. Hey, monkey fuckers, they're back. That's the phrase they use in the comic, not just me. This is the continuation, the very welcome continuation, actually, of The Humans, which is a comic we talked about, I'm going to say a couple of years ago. This comes out from Uncivilized Books, created by Keenan, Marshal, Keller, and Tom Neely, published. It's just come out. It's $10. It's, what have I done with it? Oh, it is. It's kind of magazine-sized, just showing the boys.
Yeah,
slightly bigger than comic size. I talked about the original before, and it's based in the sort of Vietnam era. It's America, California, Vietnam. Johnny is a character who's come back from Vietnam, and it's all based within this prison. And at one point, they say to him, "You've been in the prison before?" And he says, "Yeah, in Vietnam." So he's used to prison. Yeah. Volumes 1 and 2 are The Humans, and this is called The Jungle, and I'll explain why in a second. So it's about Johnny, Nada, and Mara, and they're being walked into the living hell that is Sunland Valley Correctional Prison, known to the inmates as The Jungle, which is where the name comes from. Absolutely love this, guys. It's part colour, part black and white, and it's thematically colour as well, which is really interesting. So the first, I think, 9 or 10 pages are in full colour.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Just gorgeous. Yeah. I'm just showing the boys the first double-page spread of a sort of a nightmare he's having. And they use the nightmare that he has, which is happening he's dreaming whilst on the bus to the correctional facility. They use that nightmare in a cunning way to recap the last 2 volumes.
Nice.
Which I think is a really good way of doing it.
Yeah. We were talking about that last week, weren't we? The dream sequence.
Yeah, we were actually. That's a good point, man.
As a tool.
So they arrive at the prison, and Keenan does this really brilliant thing where he does one of those sort of stacked panels. So it's almost like
lovely.
This is and it's almost the double page spread of these stacked panels gives you arrows to tell you where to read. Yeah. And it's them being basically walked into the prison, given the clothes, told to undress, being sprayed, and cleaned in the sort of shower thing that happens to them. But if you watch them, they turn into black and white. Can you see on the page I'm showing you?
Yes.
So it's a color page, but the figures, the characters, the 3 characters turn into black and white, which is brilliant because then you realise the rest of the comic is in black and white.
It's black and white,
and it's showing the grey nature, the dull, everyday, horrible nature of the prison in a really clever way.
Yeah, and the removal of anything that's got any kind of life,
colourful, anything
life.
Bright in your life. So
that's a real. I mean, seeing that. I mean, just those initial pages. That's real comic book storytelling.
To listeners, it's a bit like a kind of a Wes Anderson like cross section.
Yeah,
a little bit. A little bit. But without that sort of Wes Anderson niche humor. Wes Anderson's very individual.
Just to try and give the listeners a kind of idea of what you're describing there.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah. And they're in the prison, and luckily Johnny gets put in a cell with a dude he knows. So and it's suddenly, we're talking about tropes earlier. There's a million prison TV series tropes on there,
Love
you
them.
know, and they visit all of these as part of setting the scene, and I'm not bored by them because it gives you time, place, location, danger, and everything, friends, who's good, who's bad, and it sets out the whole stage for you. And you get stuff like he gets taken in to see the governor, who's a bit of a Weasley little glasses wearing kind of bloke, but you sense he's a bastard. And he tells the governor says, you got to play our games, all this sort of thing, and he tells the governor to go fuck himself. I mean, how many times have we seen that before? He gets on the wrong side of the gang lord who wields the power. Seen that before, and he's the sort of wild card. But the thing is with Johnny, when he walks into this prison, he says to his mate, he says, why is it they go into the cafeteria, which is the absolute best double page spread you'll ever. It's so good. I'm gonna quickly find it while you're talking. But he goes in the prison, he says, why is everyone eyeballing me? And he says, well, because you're a bit of a hero. Look at how many people they've drawn that double page spread of the cafeteria.
That's lovely.
It's amazing. Yeah, really good.
Really nice. Yeah.
And
also,
says,
really nice Grey work as well.
Really lovely, man. Yeah. And he goes, why is everyone eyeballing? He says, well, because you're a bit of a hero, because you killed a lot of cops. Because at the end of the Humans, there was this big sort of turf war thing goes on. And he says, you killed a lot of people. You're a player, which immediately makes him stand out. And everyone's like, oh, look, fucking hell, he's something to, but puts him in danger as well, which is that cliche, isn't it, that we see in prison dramas. You've got the right wingers, you've got the hippies, you've got the enforcers, and then you've got that classic yard scene as well, where they're always in the longest yard or whatever it's going to be. They're in the prison yard. You know, you get it. I mean, the callback to this is The Wild One, or the callback to this is Sons of Anarchy. Basically, this is like a 70s Sons of Anarchy, and we saw that in one of the series of Sons of Anarchy where they all get sent to prison, and they have to side with one group or other and all this sort of thing. And it's just really good, and that's the big setup. This is a series. The second issue is available to pre-order. The cover of it is in the back of this issue. And you can also buy a free Johnny T-shirt as well if you go to the website, which I love. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get one. Instagram, it's Keenan Marshal Keller, all K's, uncivilizedbooks.com. They also offer, so Uncivilized Books offer a subscription service, which is pretty cool. I like that. Cool. It's probably more relevant to the American people than it is to us. They also publish Ginseng Roots by Craig Thompson, who did Blankets, which if you get a chance to read that, I know I was speaking to AJ Dungo about that. He loves that series. It's really good. Yeah, so they do a couple of cool little things, but really refreshing, really good read. Immediately a total grasp of storytelling. Yeah, it's going to be up there for me, I think, this year.
Oh, fantastic!
Nice. Amazing. Dan, what have you got?
I've got the Fabled 4 remake by Jamie Smart, which I backed on Kickstarter. I think I backed the
Jamie Smart or Jamie May? Is it
Jamie May? Sorry, not Jamie Smart. Apologies, Jamie. Jamie May, Fable 4 remake, which originally started off as a pixel art comic, which I think I read.
I remember this. Yeah.
I think I remember this as well, actually.
Yeah.
But this is complete, as in remake, is completely from the ground up. Although it has similar elements, it's a completely different beast. It's not like just the same comic with new art. And it basically tells the story of a load of adventurers who are absolutely like top of their game, like a wizard, a warrior, and essentially they've done nothing with their lives. They just, even though they're really great, they sat around and fucked around. The warrior's got married to this like absolutely beautiful woman, and she's left him because all he seems to do is go to the pub with his mates and drink. And they're like, right, we've got one last hurrah to sort of make our name. We'll go and tackle this magic tower that no one else can handle. And it keys into a lot of fighting fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons tropes. If you kind of like a fan of those, you're going to like this book. And because it's got a very British kind of slant to the humour, there's a line that says like, oh, you know it is, mate. And it was like, that feels like something you'd overhear that down the pub if you went down for a drink. It's just like guys talking to one another. Absolutely fantastic artwork by, let's see if I can find it on, I've got it on the my Apple pad, so let me just filibuster a second while I get this comic up, which I should have done beforehand. Professionalism.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's a lovely sort of kind of mix between like a cartoony anime kind of style, and I think Jamie has worked with this chap before. Art and colours by Neri Rearte, Neri Rearte, and edited by Archie Date. There's a whole plethora of not safe for work covers which ran on the campaign. I really don't have a problem with anyone doing any stuff like that. If you want to run a not safe for work cover and it helps you make your comic, man, you fucking do it. Like, don't worry about it. If people buy it, sell it. But I had a lot of fun. I'll be back for issue 2, and yeah, recommend that one.
Nice. Staying on that theme of adventures and tabletop role-playing inspired books, I'm going back to I recommended it as like an Instagram comic, and they had like a crowdfunding campaign for a collection, and I want to recommend the Bucket Brigade once more and point people in their direction. This is from the creator on Instagram. He's known as CME_T, but he is Malcolm Thulin Carpenter. And what is the Bucket Brigade? God, it's that time of night. Fucking hell. It follows the titular Bucket Brigade, an adventuring party of a paladin war criminal who tries to keep the party in line, a mushroom-addicted sorcerer and his murderous fighter girlfriend, and a warlock with an Old Testament angel patron and a libertarian necromancer wanted for tax evasion. And the series follows the party's adventures as they walk the fine line that most adventuring parties toe, wandering heroes saving the realms from monsters and horrors beyond mortal ken, and just being a bunch of homeless vagrant psychopaths with low impulse control and with a ridiculous amount of unchecked power. This is it was an Instagram comic, so this collection, which is the Weekly Roll Volume 1, if you look for the Weekly Roll, that's ROLL on Instagram. When he did the Kickstarter for this is one of those I was immediately this is one of the Instagram comics that I continue to follow now. You know, he wanted a couple of grand. He ended up getting 180, close to 184 grand for the collection of this. And well worth it. But the book itself, I mean, I will be getting the soft cover, but I've been reading the digital, which is just a collection. This is clearly a creator they're not messing about with the format too much. The pages are, you know, you got the whole 4 panels, and because each sort of strip has a title for it, you know, like the classic cartoons from the newspaper print and stuff. They all had their own title, and continues that. And the character, it's just hilarious. It's violent. There's plenty of swearing in it, which is always nice. But I think, as well as it being, I mean, this is the best example of tabletop gameplay and humor within this sort of structure. These characters are a bunch of fuck ups and weirdos, but we see so many comics that are now about that because of the Dungeons and Dragons boom, and we see so many of them, and even fantasy books that try to pretend like they're not. You look at them and you just think this is clearly influenced by that. We're seeing the same tropes. This is wearing its heart on its sleeve. The cover of the book is very much based on an old D&D cover itself. The interiors are all black and white. There's no fucking about with it. The dude knows exactly what he's doing. He's got a great sort of humor. The pacing of the humor is just,
the art style's great. Really like it.
Yeah, and they are distinctive characters that, you know, they're funny as they go. You know, there is thought to the characters. I mean, the main one is this guy called Beckett, who, because he's a paladin and he's a knight and stuff, and he looks like he's got a bucket on his head. That's kind of how they got there. And he's the de facto party dad, as they call him. And the other ones are, they're weird. It's almost like a Suicide Squad, Dirty Dozen. They're all wrong uns, but they're still going on. They're still trying to make coin. It's just the ongoing adventures. And it's got a real charm to it. It's funny. If you like tabletop role playing, you will see those things. But I think it's also accessible to people that don't, because the jokes land. You know, I absolutely love it. I'm still continuing it now. You can actually follow him on Instagram, but he's also on Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/theweeklyroll, and on Instagram it's instagram.com/CME_T. He's constantly posting stuff on there. There's also fan art. He's worked with other creators. There's like a spin-off series based in the world. He's done something that's a Warhammer influenced as well, still keeping the same humor and sort of jokes. So there's something for a bit of everyone, and he posts fan art as well. I love the creator, and I can't wait to see more of this. And like I say, this is 161 pages, this one. So
nice.
It's a good collection.
Chunky beast, yeah.
It is a chunky.
The big old chunk.
It's a chunky beast.
Did you read it physically or digitally?
I'm reading it digitally at the moment, but I will be getting the soft cover eventually. There was like hardcover editions and special slip cases and all kinds. So you know, well deserving of the success, I think, and it just seems to be. But also, and I like it when creators do this. It's gonna sound weird. They stay in their lane. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I've got this, and I'm going to do the best version of this in the right way, and I'm not going to do loads of other fancy stuff, you know, for Kickstarters, and you know, this is he said recently that because of the artwork and this taking off, he's trying to make comics like full time now. So it's
that's fantastic, man. That's a fucking dream.
Yeah, that is a dream. But he's got a sense of humor that's very much akin to the sort of stuff that we talk about on this podcast. So definitely check it out. And I think after that it's back to Tony.
Last one then. So The Hanging by Aaron Losty and letters by Becca Carey. The title of this is, we get titles for a number of reasons, don't we? I found the title of this really interesting. I got this as part of the Strangers Publishing Kickstarter, which is rolling out at the moment. If you haven't, yours will be arriving soon if it hasn't already. So Aaron's an Irish comics creator, but he lives in, I think, Toronto in Canada. Certainly he's attended TCAF. And this is an island-based dystopian science fiction story. I'm going to say we don't see many of them.
No, God, no.
Can anyone think of any Irish sci-fi dystopian?
You've got Glass City Scottish, but I can't think of...
Okay. Interestingly and refreshingly strange. It reminds me a little bit of that sort of pre-Star Wars period we had, where science fiction was terrifying and non-heroic. I mean, through its period of life,
stuff as well, wasn't there? A lot of dystopian,
you know,
post-apocalyptic.
Boy and his dog, all this sort of stuff was happening around that time. And I know it comes and goes a bit, but it just reminded me a little bit of that. The cover reminds me a little bit like a technical manual in a way.
Yeah.
Got that sort of little weird film, but it's in that manga-friendly format size, which I think has become popular.
Yeah.
So it's like this. It'll be a similar size to the one you described, Tom. So the story is Adam, Mac, and Tim. They're brothers, and they live in a big sort of cruel, vast city. You think it's Ireland. There are a number of reasons I think it's Ireland. One, it sort of shows the British Isles, and two, a lot of the language uses kind of Irish slang almost, or just beats of how they speak. And it makes Mega City 1 seem, would make the citizens of Mega City 1 shudder how horrible this world is. And all they do all day is they spend their day trying to find work to get tokens for food. And it's just a constant fight. And it's interesting because they live in a world where the threat of nuclear Armageddon hangs over their heads. Now, I mean that massively literally. So I think it's aliens, I think is what they say, certainly in the bump for it, have launched every single nuclear missile in the world and then stopped them before they've hit Earth. So they're all hanging in the air above these cities. So it's almost like a literal translation. I kind of feel like maybe Aaron has heard that phrase, nuclear Armageddon hangs over our heads, and he thought, what if that was real? What if that was a literal explanation of it? It's quite cool. And people have no hope. People live these just rough lives. There's the people who are the paper pushers, the controllers, the people who give work out. You got the people like these three brothers who are just desperate to eat, just to do any kind of work. And then you've also got the criminal underworld who are taking advantage of these people, which is the inevitability of this sort of cruel and punishing world. And it hits a tragic moment, and then it gets worse. and I won't spoil it because it's really interesting. The art style is very different. I'll just show you a couple of the pages, all done in kind of greens and pinks and reds. It's nearly all like that. Yeah, I'm gonna, in trying to explain it to the listeners who haven't seen it, I'm gonna say it's chaotic. If you imagine Soviet propaganda, not 20th century. If you imagine German expressionism, there's a thing called the Die Bruck movement, which there's a kind of touch of that. And alongside something that is kind of the underground version of Eduardo Riso, I'm going to say, is kind of where it sits a little bit. It's a very hard one to describe. I suggest go and have a look online and just see. There will be examples. There's certainly examples on Aaron's
He's got like
Instagram.
green and red there against one another. They're contrasting colours. Those two, they rarely work.
So weird, isn't it?
It feels like the colours have been chosen to make the best impact on the art.
Yeah,
like it's not colours to represent real life. It's just a case of this looks good in green, we'll put it in green. This will look good in red, we'll put it in red.
Yeah, and there's I agree, man. Yeah, and amongst this whole sort of haunting, sort of soulless world is the younger brother says he can see ghosts, and there's a sort of this talk of ghosts in it, which is just you kind of, the ghosts are represented almost by like just the shape in the air. Just breathtaking stuff. I'm just trying to find that's the page I was going to show you, which doesn't use color, but it almost feels a bit like almost like a Banksy kind of crossed with a Frank Miller.
That's great.
Yeah. There's a scene where a man's holding a truncheon and it's about to hit a child in the face, and it's a really sort of interesting page.
But that's hitting her, isn't it?
Yeah, and the fact
the second page shows the truncheon down.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. With a little speck of red. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Really lovely.
Yeah, very good. He plays with physicality. He twists the body as well. There's a lot of punches that are thrown that have that sort of almost modern Frank Miller twisted body. Miller really fucking plays with anatomy these days, doesn't it? Some people don't like it. I like it, but and there's points in it that will just break you. It's very emotionally sort of heart pulling on you.
The only thing I will say about that double page spread, that very striking and affecting double page spread with the truncheon, when you held it up, Tony, for me, I think it might have been better if it was the face was on one page and the reveal was on the other. Because when I looked at it quickly, because of the nature of the art, it almost looks like a double page, a DPS hasn't been lined up,
and not two panels.
Not two panels.
No, I get that.
I think it might work better on a page turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. Interesting. Yeah.
You know what I mean,
so you see it and then oh wow, you have the.
I almost feel like he had this clever idea for something which is very striking, and it doesn't kind of fit with the rest of the comic.
Almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
a bit of storytelling there, but the rest of the comic isn't like that.
It doesn't sort of move into it. Yeah, maybe.
I quite like the fact that I thought it was a DPS because it was off. The two things went aligned, and I was like, "Hold on, that's moved."
That's a good point.
He's
yeah.
Great point.
But
that's reflective of the rest of the comic.
Yeah, but there is a certain expectation on like the reader to do that, isn't it? I mean, I think we'll pick up on that quite quickly, but.
Yeah, he's making us think here, and he does make you think in this book because it's not everything isn't just obviously on the page, like a George Perez comic. Not that I fucking love George Perez, but it's not immediately clear. And I found this emotionally exhausting to read. Okay. I genuinely did. I didn't read it in one sitting, which is very unlike me. I tend to just read it, all the way through. It took me 2 or 3 times to get through it because there's almost bits that are abstract in this comic, and you are having to read into it. Which I think is maybe an evidence of that DPS or that what thing that wasn't a DPS but appeared to be a DPS. Yeah, it's interesting. So you can go to Instagram, Aaron Losty, Losty. He co-founded the Cartoonist Co-op, which you can go to and have a look at Cartoonist Coop. And then Strangers Publishing is at strangers_publishing, our mate Eddie. And you can go to strangerspublishing.com and buy a wealth of different and brilliant comics. There might be something manga coming from Eddie soon, which I know is quite exciting, so watch out for that.
Tip for Aaron there, he could have done the truncheon hitting the girl's head with like blam as a sound effect.
Yeah, that'd be good. Just go full Batman TV series.
Like star effects coming off the
yeah. They go full Carry On. Oh, that hurts.
Kapow! Ouch!
Someone in the background just says, "Oh, that looks painful."
yeah. But what wasn't painful was this week's episode, because it's been an absolute joy. It's always fun talking comics, and
especially with Tom.
Well, yeah, especially with Tom.
Brought the heat this week, Tom.
Yeah. Proper heat. And it's not just the humidity that's in this room currently.
No, it's the sandals are gone as well.
Oh, God.
I bet you are wearing sexy sandals, aren't you?
Show
us your feet, come, let's see.
Oh,
look at them.
God.
They're trendy, aren't they? Falpy turned up at my house yesterday wearing a right pair of strange shoes.
Yep. I'm also sponsored by Birkenstocks. Great sandal.
I'm not a sandal man in any way, shape, or form. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Lest the internet.
I'm more a Crocs man.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Crocs back in,
at the moment.
Back in.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Because I've had mine since the last time they were in. Doesn't matter, does it? You know.
I've told this story before about my dad when he's got like the slippers that he wears out into the garden to do stuff. I've told you this fucking story. It's brilliant.
Go on.
I went around to see my mum and dad, and my dad was on the table with two outdoor slippers on the table, and he had a little thing of the whiteout stuff, what do you call it, Tipex.
Yeah. And
he was painting an S on his sandals. I was like, what happened there? He says, well, the S rubbed off on my Speedo. So this read pedo. He can fucking hack it. He had to put the S back on.
Vince, finish off, man. We can't beat that.
Yeah, no. What a brilliant way.
Later on, Dan goes back again to rub the S off.
We hope you have enjoyed this week's chat, and if there's anything you want us to talk about, or potential topics, events, anything you want us to shout out, then please do let us know. There's several different ways you can do it. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at awesomecomicspod on Insta, at the awesomepod on X. Thank you for listening to us, whether it's on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, leave a review, say something nice. You can do that on Spotify as well, apparently. And we're also on Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife. What networks are we on, Tony?
We're on the network. We have started a GoFundMe for Cliff's asshole, and it looks like the Japanese flag.
Sorry, state. Yeah. Angry
I made him eat a very hot curry, and then he texted me and Falpy all night about how he's going to die.
My God. So he's burning his way to the centre of the earth, as we're speaking.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah. I get you there. That was good, Dan. Where can people find us, etc. online? Tony?
Neverwriteanything.com, or if you go to Tony Ez on Substack, you can find me, and you can also find the pod covers from each podcast we do. We stick the covers on there.
Yes, nice.
Lovely. Dan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Vanguard Comic. Can you read Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com? I'm currently setting up the Kickstarter for the next Viper, which is Viper Red Shadow. And if you saw the Patreon this week, I did the cover for issue 2 of Comic Nasties.
Oh yeah, I saw that, man. It's
Daniel,
good.
He was, I said I would do it for Daniel at the 500s.
Oh, that's right. He gave us a free copy, didn't he? The 500. It's good stuff. Yeah.
And I did.
He's been has he done a bit of travelling, hasn't he? He's been putting it in comic shops around the world, I see on his.
Yes, I mean, he's that's the way you do it. Get the comic out there.
Yeah. You can find me online on social media at Jester Diablo. And Tom, if you were a box of an advent calendar, what day would you be?
Ooh, very good.
That's
shout.
a good question, man. Yeah,
it's a great shout. I think I'd be number 2 with the advent calendar.
You're never a number 2. You're always number 1 in our hearts,
that's
Tom.
Fair. Thank you.
What do you guys be?
What?
If you was a door on an advent calendar, I think I'd be 25th because I'm a fucking bobbers with it.
Do they have 25th on a
No, you should. I just
24th
for
isn't
the
it?
purpose of a joke. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Sorry, Dan. I didn't mean to.
No one's gonna be like, "Oh, fuck me! I've got to get up today and open out the advent calendar." On the 25th.
Wow. I'll be the first one because that's the one everyone's excited about. and then they get the chocolate, and it's just disappointing.
There's a discussion about an advent calendar in next week's recommend I've got.
Oh, well, stay tuned for that from Dan, Tony, Tom, and myself here at ACP Towers. Have a brilliant week. Keep reading loads of comics. Keep making loads of comics. And as always, what else should they do, guys?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome. Oh, fuck that.
You two were right in time, and I wasn't there.
Yeah, that was lovely.
It wasn't bad.
There was a real melody to it as well.
Yeah.
Mine's really off.
Like Shakespeare's
No, I think
sister.
yours was perfect.
Yeah, yours is off. Yeah, it's just your ears, Dan. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Your ear.